Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroladaOfficial, and these are your November 2023 video horoscopes for each of the 12 signs, with an intro talking about the world events as well. And I've been looking forward to talk about this month because there is something very important happening this month, which is Mars and the Sun are joining together. This happens once every 2.2 years. And as you'll see from my presentation, it actually determines some of the most important tasks and problems that humanity and the individual person will be working on for the next 2.5 years after this conjunction. So we'll cover each of the signs and what it can mean for the world. And also another very good news that I have is that Saturn is turning direct. And that's good news because certain karmic or complicated situations or situations that were stuck will start moving forward, will start unfolding, will start having resolutions. So this is exciting. Just before I start, I want to let you know that my 2024 video horoscopes, 2.5 hours for each sign, you can pre-order them already for 30% discount. They will be released in November, but anyone who pre-orders will get the 30%, and you will be sent on the date of the release on the 17th of November your specific videos on or bunch of videos, ascendant, sun and moon, whatever you choose. And also my 2023 astrology calendar, which I've been doing for 5 years now, and it's very successful with all transits for the year, when planets become visible and invisible, the meaning of all transits, the meaning of all new moons and full moons. They're not specific for you, they're general, but you have like a calendar. It's the 120, 50 pages usually every year, and it's interactive. So you click on the date and it takes you to the meaning of that transit and the events that are happening then, so you can plan your year ahead. But now let's go to this Mars Sun conjunction. First, I'll speak a little bit about the world. Why is it so important? Because the Sun Mars conjunction shows where our biggest battles and fights and our biggest breakthroughs are happening for the next 2.5 years. Let me just remind you, in 2019, towards the end, the Sun and Mars met in Virgo. So what happened for the next 2.5 years? Virgo is a sign of sickness, illness, taking care of your health. Well, we had a pandemic. All the efforts, which is Mars, of the world and all the bright minds, the sun of the world, were getting together to solve this issue or to mess it up, whatever. So that's what happened last time, the time before last. Then the next 2021, towards October, Sun and Mars met in Libra. And it meant that for the next 2 years till now, the theme was very different. It wasn't, so that's when COVID hysteria started dying out and the cases going down and the lockdowns going down, but a new set of problems appeared, which was Libra to solve. So what happened? Libra is one of the signs of peace and war, or lack of peace. Then we had the eruption of the war in Ukraine. And what happened? Libra is about taking sides. Libra is about negotiations, is about treaties, is about diplomatic sanctions or diplomatic agreements. Well, all the world for 2.5 years was focused on this Libra issue of, and the world actually split into two factions. BRICS and the Western world. The Western world, which is more the globalists, as they call them, and BRICS, which they said, like, we don't want to follow the rules of this agenda. So the world split in two, literally. In Libra also rules business, trading agreements. There was like such kind of rearrangements of alliances. So that was the hugest focus after that. And now we're coming for the next one. So what is going to be the next set of problems? And you're seeing already the war in Ukraine is almost like out of everyone's mind. But where Mars and the Sun are going to meet now in November on the 18th. And we can feel it a month before that, like we started. They're going to meet in Scorpio. And Scorpio is not as forgiving sign as Libra. Scorpio is can be one of the most devastating signs. It can be one of the most destructive signs. It's very profound as well. So Scorpio reveals truths, reveals hidden secrets, brings to the surface everything that is dirty, the dirty skeletons, the dirty laundry, as you say, of the world. All conspiracies, all anything that has been done on the closed doors, they will be a focus for the next 2 years. But Scorpio is a sign of war. Scorpio is and now we're talking that is more dangerous one. And I pray to God it doesn't escalate to something more extreme, but Scorpio is a sign of terrorism, of war, of extreme hostilities. Libra, at least there was some kind of negotiation there. They managed to piece, the balance a little bit. It didn't spread like fire. When Scorpio and the Sun and Mars join in Scorpio, the next 2.5 years can be under a lot of like extreme reactions, scorpionic power struggles in the world, rebellions, it's physical violence as well. It's likely extreme hatred, but also it will show us 2.5 years period of people doing extreme acts of heroism as well. There is the other spectrum of Scorpio, and Scorpio can be, the destructive force, but also the resurrecting force, the extremely healing force. And they're meeting at the 25th degrees in Scorpio. And that's in tropical astrology is the sign Scorpio, and in sidereal, your actual constellations. It's also the sign Scorpio. The sign Scorpio is basically, so both the constellation Scorpio and the sign Scorpio. So there is both astrologies, Western and Vedic, agree. It's in the sign of the Scorpion, near the close of the Scorpion. It's actually, in Vedic astrology, this lunar mansion, we call it, is called Vishaka. And it's the lunar mansion of power. This is one of the most powerful lunar mansions. And this lunar mansion is this lunar mansion of war as well, the warrior king. So again, these are key words, warrior king. So at the personal level, you become a warrior somewhere. And this warrior king, they describe Vishaka as the most focused and concentrated power, horse with blinkers, nothing distracts you. You can't see others' opinion like Libra now. It's like action. You straight, you charge, you don't care, you can trample others towards your goal. So collectively the energy will be like that. Governments, people, like unapologetic, kind of almost ruthless energy. My son has his moon there when he's born. Anyone who has their moon around the last degrees of tropical, from the middle of tropical Scorpio towards the later ones, they're Vishaka. Focused, concentrated, obsessive quality, which is fantastic for a person because these people can be so successful. This is the power, the lunar nakshatra of power and purpose. So whatever this conjunction is happening in your horoscope, we'll cover the 12 signs. You'd have unflinching obsession, passion, dedication to pursue something there, to wage a war against something, to overcome some issue, and you can even, there is a saying that for this lunar nakshatra, the ends justifies the means, which is not true. We have to be careful, but with this, so we have, especially in the political world and collectively, if people or rulers are acting that the end justifies the means, imagine what things can happen. Scorpio rules atomic energy as well. Scorpio rules destruction. Scorpio rules anything to do with poisoning. Scorpio rules anything to do with death, massive death as a possibility. So we'll have to be very careful. But on a personal level, again, collectively, this is dangerous energy. Collectively, it's where we have to pray. But when it comes to personal energy, often the individual can transform this energy in a very positive way. As I said, purpose, focus, indiminisable ambition. this Vishaka part of the Scorpio constellation and sign, this part of this, each sign is split into different lunar mansions. It's so purposeful, so ambitious. So you can do kind of a miracle, hero's work, uncomparable achievements of willpower in that area of your life that the Mars and the Sun activates. I'm not saying already from November, but you have 2.5 years to work on that. So we'll cover each of the 12 signs. But there is also a bit more danger because this Sun Mars conjunction is opposite, which is very powerful aspect, Uranus. And Uranus is very close to the star Algol, which is a star of revenge, a bit of a destruction. Uranus is very explosive, boom, 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 and you see what's happening already. As I said, astrological influences can start happening up to a month before. And explosions, everything, even kind of destruction. There is Scorpio rules volcanoes as well, so think about such kind of Uranus on Algol in Earth sign, even the earth shaking in a sense. Oh, I sound so apocalyptic, but Scorpio is apocalyptic sign. Here is representation of Scorpio behind me. The kids made it yesterday. So all of those things are Scorpio, which is howling, scary, spooky. But it's also the rebirth of the soul. It's the soul. It's almost like the soul is thrown into the fire of a volcano, spun there and brought out purified and clean. Pure without all the dirt is burned off of it, all the muck, all the pain, all the trauma. It's traumatic for a bit, but then it's this resurrection light like a phoenix. So this can happen in your personal life over the next 2.5 years in a certain area of your life. But because Uranus is involved, I think the events will be sudden that happen. They will be powerful. They will shake us up, and on a personal level as well. Collectively, there will be a powerful involvement because Uranus is a social planet of fast-moving trends, viral trends, and anything to do with very powerful coming together of people for a cause. So social movements of any sorts, and this will be shaky. But it's violent. I mean, Mars opposition Uranus and the Sun. The three planets are quite fiery, quite explosive, sudden as well. Things will be developing very fast. Things are speeding up for the next 2.5 years. We have a saving aspect to this conjunction of Sun and Mars, those guys. This is Neptune is making exact trine to the Sun. Mars conjunction at 25 degrees Scorpio from 25 degrees Libra, Pisces. So the trine is divine grace. Neptune is divine unconditional love, also divine grace. Pisces is, the principles that teachers like Buddha and Christ taught us. Forgiveness, love your enemy. We're all one, embrace it from a higher perspective. What will help us? God's grace, to alleviate those tensions, to alleviate things getting really destructive, this darker side of Scorpio. Neptune, prayers, people coming together in collective meditations, God's divine grace, just because God is graceful, loves us and gives us extra chances always. Faith, knowing that there is a purpose and meaning for that. And of course, forgiveness. Forgiveness is something that is going to possibly even solve those problems. Softer approach. On a personal level, again, prayer, having faith in higher power and knowing it's taking you somewhere. So this is about this conjunction. The other thing is Saturn is turning direct. But we'll look at this individually. I wanted to look with you specifically about this combination, how it will affect the world. And what we can expect for the next 2.5 years, and because of Uranus involved on Algol, that will be very active next year as well, the energy will get very shaky. And Uranus, and by the way, Scorpio and Taurus, because they're both on the axis of this conjunction, they're financial signs. Scorpio rules the banking industry, where you put mutual finances. Scorpio rules hedge funds. Scorpio rules anything to do where many people gather their money at one place. Scorpio rules from the earth, the treasures underground. So that will be petrol, oil, anything that you dig out from underneath the ground. So these are resources underneath the ground. There can be some big focus on that in the next 2.5 years. We already have that happening with petrol and so on, but I think it might escalate because of Scorpio. There might be some battle there because of such resources, or some power stances and decisions taken because of that. Of course, Uranus is in Taurus. It's connected to the resources above the earth, food, wood, stones, all of those things. The prices basically of commodities is Taurus as well, with Uranus there. So it's a financial access, personal money, big money, oligarch money. Scorpio, Taurus is the bounties of the earth, and Taurus is the food that grows on earth. And so this is where I see the tension and the biggest changes happening. So the financial industry, the food industry as well, this access of food and finances, where the focus of willpower, energy, and having to solve problems, but of course also crisis, because Mars has this energy of crisis and something you have to battle for, something you have to put your energy like a soldier to fix, to improve. And hopefully, but it's about 2.5 year cycle. And I hope that this war that started in the Middle East, and guess what? Middle East is ruled by Scorpio as well in ancient literature. And just like less than a month before that, we see before Mars Sun conjunction there, it's escalating. I really hope it doesn't escalate further, but it seems it's again going to be like a 2 year thing happening that starts there, and I hope it doesn't involve more of the world. That's why this Neptune maybe will be helping. All right, so that's it. Now let's look at each of the 12 signs. Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Aries, this conjunction of Sun and Mars, that will determine what the next 2.5 years, where your efforts and energy will be, where the battles you'll be fighting is happening in your 8th house. And remember that from the introduction that I said this conjunction mobilizes one's full willpower, because it's happening in the lunar mansion of purpose, and the most powerful lunar mansion, Vishaka, of mobilizing willpower, laser-like focus, and undaunted and fearless determination, where you can achieve some feat of willpower. And for you, it's in the 8th house. So that's a house of a battleground already. In ancient astrology, the 8th house is the battleground. So truly your warrior nature is called now in the next 2.5 years. It's maybe you're mobilizing it already from November. You'll notice it. The conjunction is happening on the 18th. But as I said, collectively, we already saw with the eruption of the Middle East issue what started. But maybe you're already doing it, but it might be like a battle a bit for your soul, because it's one of the soulful houses, one of the hidden houses. We call it also the house of the internal battle with your shadow side. Maybe not necessarily battle, but accepting it, understanding it, and with your inner demons. So this is something where you can focus a lot of your willpower, because you're Mars after all, and Mars is starting a new cycle. And it's going to really shift your priorities for 2.5 years, 2 years, something, to overcome some inner compulsion. For example, is the 8th house, something that has more power over you, or someone who is taking your power, someone toxic, something toxic. It might be an addiction as well. These are the house of compulsions, addictions, usually caused because on an emotional level, there is some trauma, because the 8th house is where we store the traumas that are unprocessed from past lifetimes and so on. And you're mobilizing your conscious power and willpower to overcome that. And basically Mars there acts like it spins the chakras. 8th house rules the chakras, all the open apertures of the body. So that's also the chakras, where the energy flows from you to the outside world and the opposite way. So this is when Mars transits, not only transits for you, as I said, it's there now in November, but it activates 2.5 year cycles. So you're with that energy for 2.5 years. For some of you, it can activate the chakras. When the chakras start spinning, they start detoxing the body, they start detoxing the feelings, the astral body, which can feel like a crisis and catharsis of some sort. which can feel like even sometimes like a mental breakdown or some kind of a, might be even a sense of anxiety, that a sense of panicky, because this is the healing process of the eighth house. Just like if you've heard people awakening spiritually and the Kundalini rising, which the eighth house rules, they describe it like very uncomfortable process of palpitations, of anxiety, of thinking what's happening, kind of like your whole in astral body is shaking, because Mars Sun conjunction is trying to shake off, and it might carry on for 2 years, all the dirt, all the mud that's crusted at the bottom of your astral body, so it can be cleansed up. And as I said, the activation of chakras is possible. Actually, Mars and the Sun conjunction are happening in an extremely sexual lunar mansion, Vishaka, because it has a lot of power in it. It also carries a lot of sexual energy, and this is a sexual house, the eighth house for you. It can activate for some of you, lucky you. Well, not necessarily, because sometimes it's not so pleasant having such strong sexual energy, but it can definitely, if you've been having some blockages there, and it's again that if it's frigidity or whatever, or lack of interest in that direction, sometimes it can be blocked chakra, sometimes it can be because you're very spiritualized. But it can activate those powerful desires, those powerful lower chakras, so to speak. And at the beginning, it can be unnerving or exciting. I don't know how you accept that. But it can, those with more high vibration can transform it into awakening Kundalini, into spiritual awakening, into initiation, into higher consciousness. Again, it's not an easy process. It can feel like you're dying, or it can, it's this process. But there is a very powerful potential for taking initiation into a higher consciousness, or even if it's not into a higher consciousness, initiation from one state of existence and state of emotional, carrying whatever emotions with you, low grade, it might be low grade anxiety, low grade depression that's there from some trauma. Well, this now kickstarts a process where you can get rid of it, or wait your battle, and with your conscious efforts you can transform that. Now, that's on the most spiritual level. So working with a psychologist, with an astrologist, with an occultist, or someone, healer, energy healer, wow, you can have very fast results. That this is Mars, Sun conjunction, especially opposite Uranus, of course. And your soul, your subconscious is also working in this direction, because Neptune is trining on this specific conjunction, Mars and the Sun. So for 2.5 years, you have help through faith, through prayer, Neptune in the 12th house, through the help of your departed loved ones, through the help of faith in God and higher power, to heal some traumatic or emotional experiences, so something that you're stuck on. And you become a warrior there. You've been stuck on some compulsion, obsession, or some very balance, or very some abusive situation or toxic situation. So this is what is your purpose, your fight for the next 2-3 years. You'd really make a huge difference there. And usually you win the battle with those darker inner forces. But and this indomitable willpower that you feel, if you didn't have the strength before to say to someone, get out of my life, or to say to someone, enough, stop, or but also if you're someone who is a bit abusing to others, then this conjunction can make you a bit too much, like you're trampling over others willpower. People that have tendencies, say maybe it's not you, but maybe some Aries rising person or whatever, tendency to already kind of abuse power or take advantage of others, or in some way be controlling, let's say, or manipulative. These tendencies can escalate in everyone, basically. So you can confront this shadow side of you, but also so you can see so this will create power struggles with others, and hopefully you would realize that and adjust the power, adjust the use of power in a more, let's say, harmonious way, or in a more balanced way. But those of you who usually allow their power being taken away, now you're taking your power back in some way. Of course, it can activate the theme of mortality, death, the topic of death and rebirth. But sometimes they can be more like, I'm not saying to expect it necessarily, but in extreme cases, they might be actual, not your own death, but someone around you that you're dealing with wills, or inheritances and insurances or taxes. You might be putting a lot of energy and focus into such matters, taxes, insurances, or will. I hope it's not a battle for will with someone for inheritance, but also this is the 8th house, the house of mutual finances and resources. You can mobilize a lot of your forces to create more financial, let's say, with someone else, for example, or with by using the talents, or by using the resources, or the help of another person, or with a business partner. You can really be very focused on achieving this financial prosperity through utilizing other people's resources and help, or by using the stock market, because this is where you pool resources with others again, which is again 8th house, stock market. But when it comes to personal or marriage finances, or those with business partner, there can be some power struggles there. There can be some big developments as well, because Mars, Sun is a bit in Scorpio. There is this explosive potential there of a power struggle. And of course, there's an opposition with Uranus, mine versus yours, how much you contribute, how much I contribute. There is this possibility to fight for such things, so to how much you give to the taxes, how much you save yourself, or clash of your values versus mine values. So some, sorry. But yeah, this is very, very powerful stuff, guys. This 8th house, it's maybe a lot of people won't see this battle happening within you. It will be more internal, more personal experience in a sense. But it's powerful, and you can be the winner, because you're Mars, and Mars is very powerful in the 8th house in Scorpio. You might be also in some battle for alimony, or to receive money from another. Say if you're getting divorced, or you're battling, and you're putting a lot of your focus on indomitable willpower and most likely success, but it might be a 2-year process to get some alimony, or to get some mortgage, or some bank loan, or something like that, or to get rid of such things, such obligations. The 8th house is the house we talk about sexuality, power struggles, also the occult and astrology. You can focus a lot of your energy, for example, in learning something about astrology, or about the occult, or taboo or forbidden topics, or topics of abuse, topics that other peoples are scared to go into, where the angels threat to step, you would not be afraid to go. It's almost like you're getting a lot Scorpionic for a couple of years. Even though you are not having Pluto transit, this activates this area for you to be dealing with for a long time. And that the final result of this 8th house is Sun Mars conjunction is gonna win to you having much more power yourself, internal power. This is the house of internal power, where no matter if those ghoulies appear in your life, no matter they appear in different, anything you're afraid of, anything that has had power over you, you triumph over that, and you remove the toxicity from your life, and you have great power after that. People that have overcome traumas or extreme situations, they usually come back, and they're the strongest people that everyone is drawn to, that everyone wants to go in a moment of crisis. For some reason, you might be asked to be mobilized in some way for some crisis in your life. There might be some crisis, but you really know what to do because of this activation. You're really in a moment of crisis or extreme situations or sudden changes. You're the person to be around in the next 2.5 years. You might be even drawn to such career, or to such activities, or to help people in such crisis situation. Or you might yourself, if you overcome or undergo something like that, might find yourself that you're extremely that you didn't know that you have such willpower, that you didn't know that you have such inner resources, hidden resources, and psychic energy to withstand an emotional durability. That's Scorpio, emotional durability. So you're coming into your power. Just remember that. It's not an easy process, but everyone will be looking up at you as the warrior, and you can overcome your inner demons or some other injustices of abuse happening around you, or you might be involved with, like, trying to bring some secrets to the surface for others to be aware. Or you might be involved, like, in psychology, where others are coming to you with their crisis, and you're putting so much of your focus there and energy to help them solve those crises. Hopefully it's not your own crisis. People that in Scorpionic 8th house careers, like surgeons, like people in the military, like people in astrology, occult psychology, healing, usually it's not necessarily their personal life. They work it out through the career that they're doing, because they're involved in such activities themselves. But yeah, power there. And let's not forget that Saturn is also turning direct this month, towards, at the very beginning actually of the month. This conjunction of Sun Mars is on the 19th, 18th, but Saturn turns direct from the beginning of the month. So gradually this month, if you've had some problems in the 12th house when Saturn is, it will start untangling itself, because Saturn retrograde is extra effort, things are slower. Well, the 12th house might be if you had any blockage for foreign travel, or any blockage to anything to do to faraway relocation, or anything to do with foreign faraway investments, or this can start untangling. Or if you had some kind of a, if you were putting extra work, 12th house is your addictions as well, your subconscious. It has kind of similar energy to the 8th house, another of the private secret houses. So 12th house is working on letting go of things that no longer serve you, and realizing what those things are. So Saturn starting to move direct, it will become an easier process. 12th house is as well any blockages connected to sleep, or problems with sleeping. So Saturn, they're starting to turn direct, you can start seeing improvement. Or Saturn retrograde can mean that you are putting extra effort, for example, to improve your sleep routine. And when Saturn turns direct, it starts no longer being an effort, but it starts becoming part like an automatic process. Or if you've been doing efforts while Saturn was retrograde to remove certain unhealthy habits or certain unhealthy addictions and self-sabotaging behaviors, now Saturn turning direct, which means that it will ease off on you the difficulty of this task. It will start becoming more, like natural. What else is the 12th house? Is the sleep, is releasing, and so on. Any kind of psychological digging from the past as well. Or research, if you were doing some research, or doing something behind the scenes and preparing, but because it's 12th house, so maybe something that is more private, you're trying to solve it, whatever, you're working on it behind the scenes. Well, now Saturn starts moving direct, maybe you can start completing it or seeing forward movement for the next 7-8 months while Saturn is moving direct. 12th house is also if there is any hidden enemies. They say we're our own worst enemy as well, and that's part of the 12th house, that our own self-sabotaging behaviors. But sometimes people truly have someone that pretends to be a friend but does something behind your back. If you've been seeing such kind of undermining influence, maybe now there'll be some kind of resolution moving forward in that direction. And around the 10th, Venus moves into your 7th house. Let's say some light influence just for this month. Venus in your 7th house can mean that after the 9th, 10th, very good time for relationships till the end of the month. Maybe go to do something romantic with your partner. Maybe just have more one-on-one time, and of course Mars here can increase the sexual desire and intimacy. But Venus can improve relationship till the end of the month, from after the first 10 days, so the last 20 days of the month, and can be good time for partnerships, contracts, signing deals, negotiations of any sort. So yeah, go for those things, and starting to work with another person, peers, gaining more popularity, or just meeting someone even, attracting more pleasurable company, having more social and pleasant experiences there. So there you go, Aries. I really stressed on the Sun-Mars conjunction because it's 2-year influence. And I want to give you the heads up what you're in for, what we're in for, and what is expected from us. And you know what helps you? Strong faith in God, Neptune trine from the 12th house. And of course, being a better human being and fighting for you're becoming a warrior. Fight for the right cause. Thank you so much. And do check out my 2024 video horoscopes, 30% off if you order till November 17th. Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, November 2023. Taurus, the first event, let's start at the beginning of the month, around the 3rd, 4th, is that Saturn is turning direct. It's been retrograde for the last 4 months. It becomes heavier when Saturn is retrograde. Things move slower, especially in regards to some long-term goal if you've been working on. Maybe you had to double down on your efforts, but things are still moving heavier. Maybe if you're working on some any kind of business project as well, is the 11th house, or project that you're working with group of people, or something that is a project that you want to bring out to the world, because the 11th house is society, the market where you're presenting your goods. Well, if there was some kind of delays there, if you're working on something like that, and even economic, it's social economic achievements. If there was some economic obstacles or delays or blockages, when Saturn starts turning direct, probably you won't feel it immediately, but you'll start seeing the resolution towards the end or the middle of the month more. So some kind of a complicated situation connected to some long-term goal or dream you've been working on, some long-term project, some kind of a business project as well, might start getting resolved. Or if you are putting efforts towards some dream or goal of yours, if you've been doing it, especially during Saturn retrograde, we might be asked to put more efforts, even though we don't see the results yet. Now you'll start seeing the results of this. And now things will start moving forward for the next 7-8 months, because Saturn will be moving direct. Your 11th house is also friendships and your social network. Did your social life took a hit back a little bit? Did it become a bit drier during Saturn retrograde in the last few months? Or maybe you rethought some of your friendships and you had to remove some friends, or remove yourself from some memberships or groups online, or from some friends in real life, or from some social media presence. Maybe you kind of did a cleanup. Saturn likes to clean. Well, now, Saturn starts moving direct. It eases off again. Maybe your social life will maybe not bloom, well, blossom. It's Saturn after all, there for another year and a half. 2 years. But definitely there will be some developments. Maybe new people start entering your life over the next 7 months. New people with a more Saturnian in nature, though, maybe older, or maybe you're more cautious still, but there's some solving of a problem. If there was some problem with peers or with people in your environment or colleagues, this can start getting resolved now. This tension, or even with older siblings, is the 11th house. This can start getting resolved or easing off. If you've been working for extra income, or on some plan to have more economic rewards or extra income or improved income, or better following, if you're someone on media, or clients is the 11th house. The money that comes through them, or social media following, if you have such, or the income that comes from your work, from your career. Well, if you've been working hard, now Saturn will start showing you the results. There will be forward movement in that direction, maybe some results, maybe some easing off of the duties and responsibilities. Or if you've been involved in some social duty and responsibility project that involves more people, and if it's been frustrating, it will start moving ahead. But there's easing in those areas of life. Now, the other very big thing that is happening, that already, as I said, the world has been feeling it for a month already, maybe some of you too, But on the 18th, Sun and Mars are starting a new cycle. They're meeting at the 24th, 25th degrees in Scorpio. And that means that for the next 2.5 years, you'll have to mobilize a lot of your energy and really focus concentrated energy because of the sign Scorpio and the lunar nakshatra of power and purpose. You'll be like horse and blinkers on something connected with other people, on something connected with relationships, on something connected with it's almost like laser-like focus and doing something that requires a lot of willpower and concentration to have a breakthrough in regards to others. The positive way it can play out is, for example, you can have laser-like focus to improve your relationship. Mars, after all, is a warrior that wants a planet that wants to improve things, to perfect things. So there might be someone that, for example, decides that they're going to fight for their marriage. They're going to fight for this relationship. They're going to make it better. They're going to put a lot more energy into making their relationship better, paying more attention to their partner. You might be doing, some of you, that will require your focus for 2.5 hours with a partner, business or personal, where you're required, for example, to put a lot of midnight oil burning, in some project in collaboration with another, or that you're doing something that requires you to combine your forces together with a partner. I can give you an example exactly because I'm the sign before you, and the previous Mars Sun conjunction happened in my 7th house. It wasn't as intense sign as for you guys, so for you it will be even more intense. But when it happened for me, 2021 in October, that's exactly when me and my husband bought this beautiful house, and it was just empty walls. And the conjunction happened, so for especially the next year, we kind of put all our focus, all our energy to work together to make it better, to build it, to make it into a house. So it was a partnership of a lot of even physical power we put. Even physical, mental, psychological, So that can be the best manifestation for you over the next 2 years, that you're putting your resources, your power with another to create something, with your partner, whatever, or that you're putting a lot of focus to have a relationship. But this is willpower. You have to use willpower as well to improve your relationship, to find a partner if you're single. Now, there is a negative way it can play out. Because after all, it's Scorpio, so there can be some sense of power struggles for some of you. It can indicate something where you need to have where there is a battlefield with another person. I hope it's not in your marriage or in your personal relationships or business relationships, but you can definitely butt more heads, not just in November, for the next 2.5 years. Or maybe because maybe you are called now to become more self-affirming and to become a more when it comes to others, not to be shying away, but to be acting with more determination and with more willpower. This is another thing you might be building and working on for the next 2.5 years. I don't know through what situation the universe will force you to do that, but to be more assertive with others. It can help you to become better business people as well, because the 7th house is how you negotiate with others. Of course, with Mars, you can be a bit more cutthroat, but if you're usually, it can be very helpful. That just like it helped me for the last 2 years. When I want something, I state it. I'd usually be tiptoeing around and not trying to hurt people's feelings. This Mars conjunct in Sun for the last 2 years helped me to really tell to people, because Mars and Sun is very direct energy, no bullshitting, no tiptoeing around. So you have to learn to be like that as well. But if you're too much like that, because of this concentrated power of Scorpio, you can see and experience more confrontation and even some very major developments in your relationships due to this confrontation. But sometimes it's needed that you affirm yourself with someone, that you state and that you fight. As I said, this is the combination of the warrior in the sign of the warrior, in the constellation of the warrior as well. So you might be required to be warrior in some of you for the rights of someone else, to fight for someone else, to fight for another, as a representative for another. For example, you might be an agent for someone and you're fighting for them and you're doing their battles for them and supporting them, or you might be fighting with another in a court case or something like that. I hope not. Or you might be like become a more initiative into relationships, or maybe some extreme cases can be this activates more this relationship house, like it's kind of like a horny fiend in you going after others. I mean, if you know someone with Taurus ascendant, for example, that already has these inclinations, they'll be a pain in the ass. Maybe that will help them see how unbalanced their approach is. But if you're someone who, or you know someone who is Taurus, who is already abusive in their relationships, too bossy, too pushy, I know people in my personal life who are like that. They can become even more so, or you can become even more so. You can become more triggered by others. Again, it's all about to learn the right use of power in Scorpio and Mars, you know. But people who are working with others one-on-one, yes, they'll be more competitive, more clashing heads. But there'll be also, you can be able to get a lot of things done in combination with another. So also it can indicate that another person enters your life. That will be very important topic for you and theme and focus for the next 2 years, who is very Mars-like and Scorpionic in energy, who is driven, ambitious, who pushes you. For example, for me, this happened when Mars was conjunct in my 7th house from the Sun, with the Sun. From my Sun, I got like a very good manager that fights my battles, that pushes for me, that has a warrior spirit, and that she pushes me, you know. And she was actually Aries, so either Aries, Scorpio energy ruled by Mars. Such people can enter your life more full-time, you know, like they might appear as a partnership, as a friend, but they're pushing your buttons either in the wrong way, but they activate you into action in some way. They're like your generator that keeps pressing your buttons in the wrong way and pushes you to do something. Or it might be someone that does it on purpose, like a trainer, like someone that is going to, someone to motivate you, just like the person that I started working with, Sarah. She started pushing me like, you know, because Scorpio is more intense sign, you can feel like they're pain in the butt. You can feel that you clash with them or that they're a bit ruthless, but they can be very motivating. They can trigger your own willpower. They can push you to activate and to go after the goals that you want to achieve as well. And also your partner, if you already have one, they can become more initiating. But again, there is this danger of power struggles there that I keep repeating. Plus, Uranus is opposite this conjunction, and especially those of you that are born from around 20 till 27, 8 degrees in Taurus, 20 till 27, 8 degrees in Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, check the degrees, these are not days. Uranus will oppose the Sun and Mars. You have to be a bit more careful this November because of the exact opposition. It's happening from around 20 to around 27, 8 degrees. There is sparks and there is possibility to be very triggered, but you'll be the ones that do some of the most important work with this Mars Sun activation for the next 2 years in those topics that I talked about. Of course, if it's your Sun or Moon in Taurus, that can be connected to your career more with the Sun, or with important men in your life, or with your goals, where this motivation comes from others. So, you know, there's some external circumstances that you have to take into consideration that are not under your control. So, but that will push you. Again, if it's your Moon, there can be more a battle that's happening in regards to anything to do with parents, family, your personal family, or maybe something to do with home as well. But that can be affected through others or through relationships. It doesn't have to be negative. Again, it can be just laser focus, mobilizing your energy in some way. So there you go, Taurus. This is what you can expect this month. If you want to check out my 2024 video horoscopes, 30% off only till the 17th of November, and my 2024 130 pages electronic interactive calendar with all transits, check out the link below. Thank you. Nice Sun, Moon, or Rising. Gemini, the month starts with Saturn turning direct in your 10th house. So it's been retrograde for the last 4 months. And if you've seen any kind of delays with work or obstacles or dissatisfaction with your career, or if you've had some problems with authority figures, like with parents, with father, or with bosses, or with institutions, if there was any kind of delays there, blockages or problems, they start untangling gradually in November. Yes, Saturn turns direct around the 3rd, 4th, but it starts moving forward slowly. So over November and towards the next months, you'll see things are starting to move with more ease there. If there are some difficulties, they're resolved now. Or if you've been working hard on some project, career project, or changing something in your career, or changing something in the structure of your work, or changing something overall in kind of your worldly responsibilities and duties, or putting extra work to restructure something, to organize in a different way. When Saturn starts moving direct now, you'd start seeing the results. Things will become easier. It's not going to be as hard. And again, as I said, any delays or blockages or problems probably for finding a job or career or moving a project forward will improve and start moving ahead. And you can be completing something and starting to see the results now. Or if you had delays with institutions and such authority figures, they ease off. Or if you've been very hard on yourself, especially the early degrees Gemini, they felt it, the first 7-8 degrees Gemini, Saturn been transiting, squaring there, you'd notice a bit more of a relief, you becoming a bit easier on yourself, the negative blocking or kind of self-moderating or self-criticizing voice or external voice of criticism from an authority figure or someone in power can lessen and become more manageable. So problems there can start, and for the next 7 months, Saturn will be moving direct, which is great because you can forge forward with your goals and plans in your career, with your impact on the world that you have, with your you can get a lot done here. I know so many Geminis now, that Gemini rising in particular, I've been watching, that in positions of high authority or responsibility, or that they're changing career in some way, or that they're really taking control of their life, because Saturn is on top of the chart, taking control of their life, being more responsible. And now when Saturn starts moving direct, they'll start seeing the results of the efforts they've been putting, or they'll start finding new areas of authority, new areas of for self-expression through their career, and new areas to organize and to put more structure in their life. So this is about it for Saturn turning direct. The other very big event, this is the one that I'm really focused on, that will actually affect you for the next 2 years. 2 years and a bit longer, is that Sun and Mars are joining, meeting, starting a new cycle in your 6th house. That's another house of work and employment. You see, the planets are truly kind of working in that direction for you this month. Not only this month, but for quite a while with the Sun and Mars. And as if you watch the intro, I speak there how this combination is one of incredible willpower. How this combination is where indomitable, indestructible willpower and focus, where you can do some feat of courage, where we can do something that you never had the willpower before. Because, as I said, it's activated not only in the most willful sign of willpower, Scorpio, the 2 most powerful planets of willpower, Sun and Mars, but in the most powerful nakshatra of purpose, focus, Vishaka. So, what is the 6th house? It's taking care of your health, for example. Wow. If you wanted to start some workout routine, or to run Ironman, or I don't know, or maybe it's even just to start walking every day 10-15 minutes, and you never had the strength, you never had the motivation, you never had the willpower. That's often what it comes from. We never had enough focus. And people would ask me, how do I get focus? How do I get motivation and willpower? Well, now you will. Because it's almost like I often try to motivate myself for some things, and I just don't have the focus, the concentration, the obsession. You need to have the obsession. Well, this Sun-Mars combination in Scorpio will give you the obsession for the next 2 years of kind of obsessive focus, maybe to start a workout routine, maybe to really kind of change your diet. And again, the willpower that you have will be uncomparable to other periods in your life, because it's also the combination of the warrior there. You'll be like a warrior either for your health. You might go on a, what do they call, like a crusade, definitely like a crusade to change your health, to explore different ways of healing, to change your eating, to exercise. Or if you're already in such a career, a trainer, nutritionist, healer, someone that works with people with mental health problems, or a doctor, or anyone who is in social services, anyone who is helping others with problems, that can be really, really mobilizing for 2.5 years, where you get a lot of work, or where it's kind of your work, there's this focus towards it, there is a lot of responsibilities, there is a lot to get done, you take it to the next level. Or even if you're someone who is a lawyer or military, it's the 6th house, people that are in places to resolve conflict and so on, in places where there is lack of balance. You might notice that for the next 2 years there is this concentrated focus on your work that is going, I can't say without a hitch, because this is the warrior energy. So to fight for something, it is stressful, it's going to be stressful, but it can be extremely, you can achieve a lot, because this nakshatra, this lunar mansion, it's symbolized by an arc through which a warrior, like Arc de Triomphe in Paris, where the warrior returns triumphantly after a battle. So it's not going to be over a month, but within 2 years, you'll be like triumphantly passing through the arc, having overcome a health problems, having taken your health into nutritional health into hands with indomitable willpower that you never had before, or having your work, a 6th house is your employment or your work, having done a lot of work that you didn't have the power before, maybe some changing there. Mars and the Sun is about innovation. Mars is the planet of innovation. Even if you're meeting a lot of resistance and power struggles for that. I had in 2019, so in 2020 and 2021, this conjunction happened in my 6th house, so I can give you my personal experience, the 6th house from my son. And that was, I had unfortunately, some health issues as well. So this is another thing that can activate. I had a health problem. It wasn't life-threatening, but it was a recurring bronchitis and anxiety. So it can mean like you're battling with your health for something, but again, you win. You're the winner. There is this indomitable willpower in you right now to make it, to get to the bottom of it, to not just to make it, to thrive, not just to make it, to overcome it fully. So there might be this kind of health activations, I don't know, surgeries or something else, that you have to, but they can be just like a trigger for you to take responsibility and to start changing things. And there is also, I put so much energy into my work. I remember when I had this activation, and it was not in this powerful sign like it's for you now, Geminis. So there is this, and Saturn is in your 10th house for 1.5 years, 2 years almost. And the Sun-Mars activation in the 6th house. Yes, Sun and Mars will be there just for a month. But remember, the cycle is active for 2 years. So it's like 2 years ahead. There is big focus on, and I know you might be, that's boring, on getting things in order, your health. Maybe there might be some power struggles with colleagues or people at your work. Or you might be fighting for something that is, at your office, at your work, or you might be innovating something, or you might be changing your job. That's definitely something. So a lot of focus there, because Mars is new energy in transformational Scorpio as well, or changing the nature of your job in some way, or putting a lot of energy there, basically, like what I did. As well, Sixth house can be also debt. You might be trying to solve some debt and putting a lot of energy in it. Or, as I said, you might be actually fighting for someone who is in need, for the underdog. You might be very, sixth house rules wars, hunger, poverty. I'm not saying you'll be going through that, but it rules everything that is, in some imbalance. So it might be someone that is very focused, your energy is a lot on such topics, or whether on disease, war, poverty, or any kind of imbalances that you're digging to the bottom, you're researching that more, or you're directly involved in such kind of activities, not creating poverty, but fighting for those in poverty, helping those with whatever means you can, whether it's just by information, whether it's just by finances or physical work, So there might be some areas that you're really focused on for a few years. For year and 2 years, sorry. So there you go, guys. This is for you, Gemini. And of course, we have something else just for this month. Now, this is not long term. Venus is moving into your fifth house from the 10th. Approximately 9th, 10th of November. So the last 20 days, good times. The fifth house is house of enjoying yourself, having fun. And Venus loves being there because it allows those things to happen. And so definitely you can go to a few parties or enjoy more hobbies, have more time in the last 20 days of the month, even for more romance, you see. So romance, pleasurable enjoyments, entertainments, things that you love doing, sports as well that are fun, and connecting romantically, having good times as well. Mercury will be in your seventh house. It goes around the 9th, 10th again, and will stay there for some time. So there will be increased communications the last 20 days of the month as well. So you see, Venus and Mercury make things a bit joyful. It's not just work and responsibilities and organizing and putting order and cleaning, because sixth house can be also connected to those things. So there is a bit more joy as well there. With Venus and Mercury, there is some increased communications with others, increased mental work, interaction, social with others. So thank you so much, Gemini. Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, November 2023. Cancer, the month starts with Saturn turning direct, and maybe you won't feel immediately this effect, but gradually through the month and the next month as well, you start seeing unfolding of some problems connected to Saturn in the 9th house. So if you had any issue concerning, for example, legal matters, which is the 9th house, they might start easing off or getting resolved. If you had any issues with father figure, for example, because sometimes the 9th house also represents the father, they can start resolving. If you had any moral dilemmas there, where you're struggling with what is right, what is wrong, with something that it might be immoral, but you're trying to overcome it or trying not to do it, you again start getting some a resolution there. If you've been having some kind of a crisis of faith as well, experiencing maybe less, because the 9th house is the house of optimism, faith, seeing the bigger picture and trusting in the bigger picture, just feeling in the flow. And when Saturn transits the 9th house, sometimes we're not so connected to that. And we can have sometimes a bit of an existential crisis, philosophical crisis, like I did, especially when Saturn goes retrograde. You might be wondering, what's the purpose of life? Why am I here? What should I study? Where's the big questions in life? What is my purpose? What should I be doing for the future? Where is my dharma? The dharma is, where is the path? What is it meant for me? What is the thing that I'm best at? I'm the highest manifestation of myself. Or even you might be having even bigger questions like, what is God? Or does astrology work? Or if you have whatever kind of crisis of faith around some topic you might have had, Saturn starting to turn direct, you'll start feeling the easing off of this internal struggle, of this internal lack of faith, and maybe solutions and answers as well. So even if there was some kind of a mental negativity or feeling down as well, especially in your mind, your thoughts, because it's one of the houses of the higher self. You might start seeing the results. So if your ninth house is also the house of working on self-improvement. Ninth house is higher knowledge, self-improvement. If you've been working on something like that, you might start seeing the results now. And you might start seeing, not just if you put the efforts, now you start seeing the results. Ninth house is anything to do with foreign places, foreign travel, foreign relocations, visas, papers, documents for such things. If there have been some delays there, some complications, you might start seeing again easier, forward, more movement ahead, resolution. If there was some complications or delays with your higher knowledge and studies, or maybe deciding to change or wondering, should I change this major, or should I pre-qualify and start studying something else? Because a retrograde period is when you start asking these questions about your future and the direction and the higher studies and qualifications and higher knowledge. Now Saturn starting to move direct, it can help solve those problems. So if you had problems with your professor or at university, that it was hard for you, or you were getting blocked, oh my God, you're getting blocked in some way with higher education, they might be easing off, things starting to develop and move forward. All right, so that's for Saturn in the ninth house turning direct. But a really important event is happening that will affect you for the next 2 years, and that's the Sun conjunct Mars that I spoke in the intro about, in the very powerful sign of Scorpio. And for you, Cancer, it's happening in another self house. So the ninth house is a self house of self-growth, another dharmic house. Fifth and ninth are dharmic houses. And so you're kind of working for Saturn is in a dharmic house of the self, who you are, what you're here to do for the next 2 years. Mars and the Sun cycle lasts 2 years. So you'll be working for the next 2 years very in a focused and intense way and finding out who you are. Fifth house is what your talents are. Ninth house is what your purpose is. Ninth house is self-improvements, indeed, through knowledge, through, Fifth house is self-improvement as well through what you create and through your inspirations, your self-expression. So you have to redefine here your self-expression, who you are. It's, I think, like your personality and who you are and who you see yourself with those powerful influences for the next 2 years will be changing, will be enhanced, will be strengthened. Yourself as a personality, as a spirit will mature. I don't know, the spirit cannot have an age, but as a self-expression, you'll mature through Saturn in the self-house, and it will become bolder in self-expressing through Mars and the Sun in the fifth house. You get courage to self-express certain talents or qualities which you did not have before. I mean, either new talents and qualities will you become aware of, and you focus and concentrate to unfold them, to develop them, almost like a soldier, because Mars is the soldier energy, and the focus of Scorpio is obsessive, with obsessiveness to another degree, and maybe some new passion will appear in your fifth house, in your life. Fifth house is passion. Something you become very passionate, very extremely obsessed with, and that you turn into maybe even a business or career, or you turn into something that you self-express and contribute to, or involved into what you're already doing, because these dharmic houses are truly about relieving and getting you the energy, Sun and Mars, to find who you truly are and to shine your light. The fifth house is the house where you shine like a diamond, where you shine like the sun, where you shine like a child, self-expressing itself. And Sun and Mars are very fiery planets. They're a great place for them to conjoin. But they're starting a new cycle, so either you might find a new passion, almost obsession, and it might be for sports. Fifth house rules sports. It might be for exercise. It might be for, I don't know, or something else. A Scorpio, it might be for astrology or something, a cult. Or, whatever this new passion is. It will make you feel more alive. It can make you feel your warrior will come out, your willpower will come out because of that. And as I said, maybe with fifth house, it's truly about some kind of sports where you can run Iron Man or marathon, or if you've never done sports, you can, by the end of this 2-year period, you might be able to run to 3 kilometers, like, well, before you couldn't at all. Another way the fifth house is not just new hobbies, self-expression, self-creative projects, that you become very focused on some creative project. For example, you might be developing a business. Fifth house is anything which is your own idea, which you might be designing a website, or you might be developing something that, and it's not so much the administrative side of it, but it's the idea, how you're going to market it, who is it going to be targeted to. So you can activate Mars. So fifth house rules startups, businesses. That is something original, something different, something that is your own idea, and something that is risky as well. Fifth house, it is risky. It's any kind of investments as well that are in almost like lottery playing. But you might put a lot of efforts, for example, in mastering something fifth house. It might be an art, creativity, business, passion, or something like mastering startup in some way. Or fifth house can be children. Some of you can put a lot of your willpower, or even go for surgeries so they can have a child, fifth house, because it's a Scorpio sign and involves Mars, which is instruments, Scorpio is surgeries. Well, you might, if you've always wanted to have a child, but you couldn't with some kind of intervention, it can happen now over the next 2 years. Or you can become very passionate and focused and determined to have a child in whatever means. It doesn't have to be just through surgery. But of course, it can also create, since this is your children, they can be, if you already have children, they can be starting a new phase in life. They can be starting a new chapter where they have to fight or battle for something, or use a lot of willpower. Or if your child was not motivated, suddenly you might see that they're becoming motivated and focused and, kind of laser focused in something. Or your child might need to fight for something. Or your child might become more active. Or your child might become more, now that's the negative manifestation possible, power struggle there with the Scorpio energy. That you have, your child becomes more willful, wants to do what it wants to do. So there is this clash, and you might feel rejected, or you might feel, in extreme cases, it can create certain problems there that you're dealing with. Or you might have to focus your energy to help your child with something for the next 2 years. So if you become a mom, that can be focused, concentrated willpower, and all your energy towards raising this child or educating it or something like that. Now, fifth house has another side, which is loved people, like people we fall in love with, your romantic life, having fun. So some of you might become a bit obsessive into having fun. That's not bad, like you decide to put a new chapter, because that's a new cycle, new chapter, to find new ways to have fun, to find new ways to enjoy yourself. Of course, it can go a little bit hedonistic sometimes, but the fifth house is also romance. For some of you, it can be some chapter, new romantic chapter. And that activates from November for the next 2 years, where there's a lot of focus for you, especially when you fall in love, this feeling where you're having fun all the time, enjoying yourself. They might be focused on children as well, but yeah, for some of you, it can be putting a new chapter, Cancers, especially Cancer rising people, Cancer moon and sun to a lesser degree, but still 25% so likely. This romantic life, but I have to warn you, because this energy has this power struggle energy in it, where you're just so focused on doing something that there might be power struggles in your creative process. If you work with others around you, there might be clashes of willpower romantically with your partner. So there's kind of this battle of wills romantically. But if you attract a romantic partner, they can have very scorpionic energy, very sexual. This conjunction is very sexual. So if a new relationship appears, or interest, or even if your relationship has been a bit stale and a new one doesn't come, it might be like this revival of the sexual, the fun part of it. But you can attract, if it's a new person that comes, someone in Scorpionic nature or Mars nature, driven, ambitious, obsessive, this kind of romantic one that is, I can't live without you, okay, I'll put a spell on you type of thing. But it is intense, and there might be some power struggles as well there. But you also learn to affirm yourself romantically and to be proactive. This is something to focus on. And of course, to be proactive in pursuing your ideas. And the fifth house is creating your kingdom and what you want, like what you imagine that you're inspired towards, that you want to create. So this gives you the power, the energy, the willpower to go after it. So that's what Cancers you can benefit, and you can focus your energy. Just, be careful those powerful struggles or some kind of crisis with child or lover, or such kind of areas, which is the extreme manifestation. And Venus, just for this month, is active from around the 9th. Venus will enter your 4th house. So the last 20 days of the month, this can be quite nice for family, for home, to connect to loved ones, to parents, extended family. It can be nice to do some, buy beautiful things for your home, decorate your home about something, home cooked meals, any kind of pleasures and enjoyments, more improved relationships with loved one, and having more peace emotionally as well, so that's pretty much the focus of the month, guys. And yeah, have a bit more fun. There's Scorpio energies in your 5th house, and it's time for fun for Cancers as well. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to check my 2024 video horoscopes, the 30% off for 2.5 hours for each sign until November the 17th when we release them. But if you buy them in advance, you receive 30%. And my calendar 2024 interactive, 130 pages, all the transits, all visible and invisible stages of the planets, everything you want to need for the year 2024 astrologically. They're my bestsellers. I don't know, now probably 15,000 we've sold since I started, or more, might be 20,000 now. So yeah, people really love them, and we have no refunds. Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, November 2023. Leo, the month starts with Saturn turning direct in which house for us? Is it in our 8th house? Here it is. Oops. There you go. So if Saturn has been retrograde, which means it's more difficult energy, more slowed down, with more blockages, especially in areas of life connected to mutual finances or resources coming to you from others, or from clients, or connected to overcoming psychological obsessions, compulsions, or psychological traumas. So if you've had some blockages or escalation of issues concerning those topics over the past a few months, the moment Saturn starts turning direct, over the next month you'll start feeling uneasy. If there was some obsession that deepened, or if there was some psychological problem that deepened, if there was some kind of a fear that increased, or some internal battle, because 8th house is battle, not only internal, it can be a power struggle with another person, because it's the house of force and abuse of power or power struggles. If there's been some kind of more manipulative situation, or situation that is more abusive, or that has been more unequal, or unfair balance of power, this can start getting relieved. Maybe you won't feel it immediately because Saturn takes some time to pick up, but over the course of November, gradually you'll see kind of a relief and improvement of a complication with mutual finances, taxes, insurances, inheritances, if there was any such problem, or if you've been in some kind of a battle with another for resources or money, or some money that was blocked, that was supposed to come to you, but it's been delayed, or it's been kind of less than normal, or if your partner or spouse has been going through some financial difficulties, it will start on solving, becoming easier moving forward. Or if you've been working if you've had some kind of investments in stock markets or investments in mutual hedge funds or whatever, or if there's been some delays to a mortgage or to a loan, all those things start untangling, start becoming better, easier. Or if your partners had financial difficulties, I think it will again, your fears around it and the circumstances around it will start improving. And again, as I stated, if there are some also intimacy blockages, they'll start improving. But also, if you've been working hard on some kind of developing some willpower towards compulsions and obsessions in your life over the last few months, if you've been working hard towards overcoming certain traumas or working hard on and considering and maybe having some issue with matters of death, loss of a loved one, or divorce, or all the difficult topics of the 8th house, death, loss, divorce, kind of sudden crisis of life. If you've been struggling with such topics, or topics of abuse, topics of power, inequality, these will start easing off of you. Especially if the feelings are more turbulent, more darker inside of you. Because there is a tendency sometimes when Saturn is in the 8th house for us to focus on the life, to push us in that direction, to consider those darker topics, to consider those more difficult, challenging, taboo, or things that we usually darker scorpionic energy, because Saturn is in the 8th house and you've been digging deep into those topics, and now Saturn will start moving forward. So there might be a possibility of healing, of if there's been about grieving, healing, if it's been about some kind of traumas or power struggles or blockages to emotionally opening yourself to others, it start easing off in some ways. Or if you've had mutual finances problems in some way, again start easing. But Saturn will again go retrograde in your 8th house next year for a few months. So they might be on the next level, maybe not exactly the same problems, but on the next level, different level. But the first, let's say, chapter of this, you're completing it and you're solving it now over the next 1-2 months. Then the really big event that I wanted to focus on, though, is the Sun-Mars conjunction it's going to happen in Scorpio, in your 4th house from you, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's going to affect you for the next 2 years and a bit more. Seriously, guys, this will be such focus for you. And that's connected to home and family. Wow. So let's think about it. It's how can it manifest? Because Sun and Mars mobilizes your energy and shows this will be an area of your life you'll be putting a lot of concentrated willpower and focus there. So how can it play? For some of you, it can mean moving. Not necessarily in November, but the first ideas of that might start coming in November, December, at the beginning of this conjunction, or even a bit earlier. But there might be new situation happening with your home and family that requires moving, or that you might get inspired suddenly, I want to have this property, or I want to live in this place, and you'll do anything in your willpower. Nothing will stop you, and you're going to have this house by the end of those 2 years, or you're going to move to that place you want at the end of this year. Or if it's because of external circumstances pushing you, again, there is this something new that is starting there that requires you to mobilize your energy, to move furniture, to maybe to fix, to, or you might feel mobilized to start gardening, for example. 4th house is anything to do with the house, with property. Even if you're not moving house or property, if you're not building something in your property, Mars, physical energy, you might, which is all these things are great for. You can be doing it over the next 2 years. The concentrated willpower and force of the Sun, Mars, and Scorpio guarantees you'll do it. Or you might decide to take like a real estate job and really focus. And with willpower, you can just get, make it happen, that real estate gig. Or if you're already in such area of work, real estate, land, it can be a really concentrated period of work and focus and putting a lot there. Or as I said, you might be avid gardener with a lot of passion and almost like obsession. That's a good thing, because you don't want the more negative side of Scorpio, Sun, Mars conjunction in Scorpio, to manifest, which can be, for example, a power struggles with family. I had a few friends who had Mars and Sun conjunct in their 4th house, And over the last year or two, that was like a big focus, was a power struggle with the family. And then especially in Scorpio, when it's happening, this conjunction, it can be very intense. It can be about purging some demons, so to speak, from the family karma as well. You focusing, mobilizing, you might become really obsessed and interested in everything fourth house. You might have feel it the whole next 2.5 years, like family constellations, like family karma, digging, understanding the psychology, the early childhood, the relationship with the parents, your ancestors, the ancestors' patterns. You might become an expert. As I said, it's obsessive focus. You might be forced to dig into it because of some emotional, psychological turbulence happening inside of you, that the Sun Mars activates you through crisis to start understanding why you are like that. For example, a friend of mine that had Sun Mars conjunction in her fourth house, over the next 2 years, what she did was work with a psychologist to go through all the painful moments of the past, to release a lot of this pain, and she feels she's come to a lot of peace with her family. So that's another manifestation it can play out for you. And you can do a lot of psychological purging and cleaning. You feel like brand new. You see, Saturn is also for the next 2 years in another psychological house of purging, cleaning, and Mars and the Sun conjunction lasts 2.5 years. This cycle, and another childhood house of psychology. So some of the most important work Leo is doing is understanding, especially Leo rising, let's say, but Sun and Moon as well, is understanding where the traumas are coming from, having breakthroughs there, having solutions to that. But even in some cases, it might be recommended to break with some members of family if there is toxic energy. The Sun and Mars there stands up for itself. It's a warrior energy in Scorpio, and it's not afraid of anything. So you might be on a battlefield with the family, if they in any way, but it's about learning to stand up your ground, because you're starting the cycle, the Sun, you're the Sun, Leo. Learning to stand up your ground, learning to, if parents or any other members of your family are trying to penetrate too much or trying to be too invasive, that's where the power struggles can start. But you kind of are making a stand already from November, But it can also mean that you're mobilizing your powers with family, all your energy to achieve some grand goal. I wish it for you. Some grand goal, whether it's building a house, whether it's you're becoming a parent, it might be something like that. So you're putting a lot of energy on parenthood, or you're putting a lot of energy in becoming a better parent. But again, there can be power struggles as a parent there as well. Some crisis you have to solve, but you're very focused on that. And you come victorious out on the end, because the symbol of this nakshatra, the lunar mansion that Sun and Mars are meeting in, is the one of Arc de Triomphe, where warrior returns from war after they've won it. So there is success at the end, whether it's a property you're making, move you're doing, something with your family you're changing, family karma you're exploring kind of patterns of repeating karma or whatever, dealing with, you're come triumphant out of that at the end, maybe towards the end of the next 2 years, that might not be immediate. But yeah, there might be some family crisis that you have to deal with, but also new beginnings in the family. New beginnings, new chapter in your family life. For some, it might be moving. For others, it might be their children going away. For others, it might be a new child coming. For others, it might be a parent leaving. Something new is happening there. It's a bit intense and extreme because Scorpio is involved, Mars is involved. It might come fast and as a shock, but the developments will be fast there. For others, might be buying a new property, decorating, putting a lot of energy there. For others, and maybe all digging into your tree line and family tree line and family ancestry and so on. So which one? Maybe all of them. So that's a really big thing for you, Leos. Focus on that. Very quickly, just for November, Venus, after the 8th, 9th, will move into your 3rd house and will stay there till the end. So the last 20 days of November are very good for short trips, perfect. You know, Venus is great in Libra. Go to beautiful places. If you can do short trips within for a few days, for a week, like go to Italy, go to or some places with good restaurants, or which is Libra energy, good art, good architecture. You know, maybe there can be some trip for you like that, or meet with love, with friends, with siblings, with relatives as well. uh, Meet together and you know, go out, go for walks. You might be more socially active as well. This is good period for socializing, for communications, for even buying a car if you want to, taking a trip or whatever. So that's, you know, I like to mention where Venus is, because this is where things will be going good. And in our third house, anything to do with media, marketing, communication, information, short trips, buying laptops, phones, filming videos, whatever, YouTube. These are all good things. Anything with they go smoothly, lovely. If you have to present information to someone, if you have to write something, to report something, do it when Venus enters Libra, the last 20 days of November. If you have to meet up with friends, organize some kind of get together, or work in a group, with small group with others on a project, it will go smoothly. But remember this this Mars Sun conjunction, guys. If you're Leo, yes, a new chapter in the family, maybe mobilizing your powers together to do something with the family, and so on in your personal life. Thank you so much. And yes, if you'd like to watch my videos for 2024, 30% off, 2.5 hours for each sign, very in-depth. If you get them before November the 17th, it's 30% off. We have around 15 to 20,000 we've sold already since I started making them, and people love them, so I keep making them. So there is such strong interest. So if you want to see them, or the transit, the calendars for 2024, 130 pages, interactive. You click on a transit in the calendar, it takes you there, shows you what it means. And sorry, my mind is starting to slow down. Thank you, Leo. Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, November 2023. Virgo, the month starts with Saturn around the 3rd or 4th of November, turning direct after being retrograde for 5 months. Saturn is turning direct in your 7th house. So if you had here from you, the 7th. So if you had any issues in relationships, if relationships became more tense, more aloof, more distant, or maybe you were re-examining relationship for the past 3-4 months, 5, if you had some maybe problems in the life of your partner, if your partner has been going through some difficulties, or business partner, or testing experiences coming to you from others, or more critical people around you, people that are pushing your buttons more, that are demanding more from you, or that you've been dissatisfied with a partner in some way. When Saturn starts turning direct, you'll start feeling a release, that things are moving more better. If there was some blockage to a contract or agreement that you're trying to sign, which is also the 7th house, or if you've been blocked, or you had some difficulties, if you're working with another person one-on-one and there was blockage there with the project or whatever you're working towards, well, now when Saturn starts moving direct, you'll see solving of such problems. Or if you've been in some court case that you've been stuck in, or some kind of dispute with another, or some kind of a impasse with another, blockage, when Saturn starts moving direct, you'll start seeing the resolution of those issues. This court case, or things, starting moving ahead, or this contract, or this agreement, or the relationship start to improve or becoming easier, or the life in your partner life, if he's been having problems, starting to untangle a little bit. And of course, 7th house is the house, if you've been working hard with someone towards a goal, mutual goal, maybe taking on more responsibility, because the retrograde phase can be not just about problems, but about working extra hard towards something. Well, now you might start seeing the results and things become a bit easier. If you've been working hard on preserving your marriage or partnership of some sort during the retrograde phase, now you can start seeing the results of that as well. But or if someone's been hurt towards you, or you've been getting grief from another again, or you've been being sad about a relationship situation or another, it can start easing off, moving forward, some problem getting solved there. All right, that's with the seventh house. So if they've been socially more stagnation, again, you can start feeling that it's becoming easier, not so constipated anymore as well. Then the other very big event that I want to focus on, Virgo, is the Sun-Mars conjunction that is happening in your third house, and it's going to affect you for the next 2 years and a bit more. You see, 1, 2, 3. This is very powerful. So where your focus will be, not just now in November, for the next 2.5 years, it's another social house. You kind of have to mobilize a lot of your energy and resources and power to deal with something, this third house. So for some of you, it can mean starting some project that is connected to media, starting some project that is connected to marketing, to business, and where you will be dedicating so much of your willpower, your focus, your energy for not just November, but for a couple of years ahead. Some of you, it might be a book, writing a book or something written, or making a website. Third house rules all of those things, or making a blog, or whatever, it's written, spoken word information, or starting to learn some kind of training, some skill, but which requires a lot of willpower and which you never had the courage to have before. Now you're going to have it. The Sun-Mars conjunction is the conjunction of the warrior in the constellation of the warrior and the victorious warrior, that Vishaka. It's an arc of triumphant arc, that the symbol of this part of the sky that was given to it by the ancients, where the Mars and Sun conjunction will happen, and where people almost gets like so much willpower there and purpose and obsessive focus that they always come back triumphant as a warrior after war. So you're gonna win that battle there, whatever it is. But that battle, it might take a couple of years, but it might be learning a language. It might be something that for everyone it will be different. But someone might be learning to play an instrument, or learning to drive, or it might be for another learning to do a brand new business, brand new skill, brand new training that learning some skill that you didn't have the courage to, and you might be forced into it, or out of crisis you have to take it, or it might happen that because you have really strong passion that appears for you, but some new skill is you're working very hard on it. So you might take on signing for some course or studies or something like that, which is, I think it might be the right way to channel those energies correctly, because there might be a negative side of them as well, because some of it might manifest by power struggles and fighting with others more, with siblings, with relatives, fighting with those that are workmates, teammates, schoolmates, if you have friends around you, with neighbors. I hope you don't start some war, because it's a very warrior conjunction, like I said, where no one backs off. There is no negotiation. There is no it's like till the end. And that, I'm hoping, but there might be possibility, if you notice this, it might be about a 2-year process with such kind of third house people, classmates, workmates, neighbors, siblings, relatives, mates of any sort. But also, you remember that Neptune is making a trine to the Sun-Mars conjunction, so it means you have access to the energy of Neptune for the next 2 years as well, to solve it by Neptune, maybe by a middleman, Neptune in the 7th house, someone that helps you achieve the peace, or by forgiveness. This is Neptune, by being kinder, kind of forgiving prayer, and so on. But also it can indicate that you are starting some new project with another third house. Third house is with associates and a team of some sort. There can be more competitiveness there and clashing of egos if you're working in a team to achieve something, or with associates. But you might be doing some project that is very important for the next 2 years. And again, that requires the mobilization of the forces of all your intellectual and skill forces, and those of teammates or other people. But again, because of the more explosive nature of the planets and signs involved, there can be a power struggle there. But again, you can achieve something really great that you couldn't achieve on your own, and that you couldn't do before. And this is the house of courage. When Sun and Mars meet in the most powerful sign, Scorpio, what kind of courage does it talk? And it's the house of self-made wealth. That's why it's house of business, where you use your skills to create your wealth. It's not inherited, it's not you use all your intelligence and skills. So if you haven't had the courage to do that, now this 2 years is might be what you're forging and working towards and putting your warrior spirit towards. Or you might be, because remember it's a warrior combination, third house is words and communications. You might be some kind of a, on some kind of a crusade about exposing scorpionic truths to the world and delivering such information. You might be asked to learn to speak up your truth, and because that's Mars Sun is about communicating in a direct way, in a way that is not beating around the bush. And you already have this ability, Virgos. You have Scorpio in the third house, but now it's strongly activated. You might be asked to do some battle where with your words or with your knowledge or with your skills, you're fighting for some cause, or you're fighting against some atrocity, or fighting against something unfairness, or using your words or intelligence for some battle. I hope it's not just like you fighting with others online. It might be a theme for the next 2 years as well, whether you wanted to know feeling attacked by others online, or not just online, in their everyday life, that you see this escalation. But it's about teaching you to affirm yourself in conversationally, to be more initiative as well. And you might be even put in a position of some kind of a leadership position in a small group environment as well. That's another positive possibility. Let's mention it. But Sun-Mars conjunction in the third house there can be verbal fights or something, but it also can be about forging mastery of your words, and forging that you ask over the next 2 years to be very active on writing, on speaking, on media, on business or commercial activities of any sort, to mobilize all your forces and willpower in such direction, or something educational. Third house also rules that. And there might be some focus on traveling, that you're putting a lot of energy towards traveling, that is being activated for not just in November, but for a while after that. So these are some of the most important themes of the third house. Vehicles, traveling, short trips. Of course, there might be things with crisis, like with the car breaking down, crisis in relationships with those third house people, crisis in your communication, connectivity, your journey trips type of thing. But you're like an indomitable warrior, fearless warrior, and you go and solve all those problems. Or you might be some kind of a crisis communicator in some area about, or your mind might be a lot focused on such kind of topics, talking about them, more scorpionic, and being like a spokesperson for such themes, whether it's abuse of power, something hidden, something very private, something transformational, or maybe learning something scorpionic like occult, astrology, and so on. There are many ways it can manifest. I'm trying to show you the worst and the best, and just to be aware. I'm sure you're not going to remember it, but you can come back to this video years later and try and, see what the purpose of this is. But it's very important for you that the Sun-Mars conjunction is trying to teach you to speak your, not to allow your voice to be drowned, not to speak out what you need, to speak out what you see as important. And you might be pushed into it by some more extreme circumstances, or by the inner impulse to develop your own voice, to find your own voice, to find the power of your words. And you might play some important role where with words you impact people in the next 2 years. And then just for this month, something that is active is Venus in your second house, especially after the 10th. You'd notice it till the end of the month, trying to spend money, Venus, on beautiful things, maybe for presents. You'll find good deals. You'll find really, when Venus transits the second house, with possessions, valuables, you really tend to find the really nice things to buy as clothes, as anything valuable, and good deals and fair deals as well. So yeah, to you know to lighten up the energy, you can do that. Venus in the second house is good and refined meals, all the five senses where you get to get more enjoyment from, and even spending some time with family and loved ones. That can also be rewarding. And focusing on the five senses the last 20 days, even making a bit more money when Venus transits the second house, at least for me, from the ascendant, always there is more money around. They come and go, but it's easier access to it, easier access to better materials, to better resources. So if you want to buy something nice, now is the time. Thank you so much, and do check out my 2024 video horoscopes where I speak 2.5 hours for each sign. I've sold more, maybe 20,000 of those already. People love them. They're chock full of information. Check them out, and they're 30% discounted till November 17th. I'm putting a link below. Or if you want to know day by day next year what events will be happening collectively for the world, each transit, when planets become visible and invisible, what it means, not just when it's going to happen, what it means specifically for next year. Every year I write this 130 pages calendar specifically for you, specifically for the next year. So it serves you as a guide to plan your year. Thank you. Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, November 2023. Libra, the month starts with Saturn turning direct around the 3rd or 4th of November, but it will take some time for you to feel the influence because Saturn moves very slow. So there can be a change of direction, turn around in regards to this 6th house for you, because Saturn is turning direct in your 6th house here. So, for example, if there was some complication at your career, at your work, or with employees, someone who is your employee, or if there was some strenuous work that was going slowly, or if you've been working on something behind the scenes, now you're going to start seeing the results gradually after November. Or if there were extra duties and responsibilities that felt, too many chores or duties or things to fix, to improve, or to work at work or at home, now the burden starts becoming a bit easier, gradually from November. So the responsibilities ease off, or maybe if you've done the hard work of putting order, organizing, getting the work done and the responsibilities done, now you get the rewards of those. Or if there was some blockages at work, maybe you've been looking for a job and you can't find. Saturn starts going direct in your 6th house, and now you can see finally some development, some solutions there that you're able to start, find a job, or if you had some problems with colleagues or at your work environment, or if it was hard there or some delays, again, this will start unraveling or easing off. If you've been having some problems with some debt as well, because the 6th house is debts, whether student debts or whatever, and you've been working hard on it, maybe you start seeing the first results or the first kind of resolutions of some sort. Or if the debt's been blocked from you, you might start seeing that it's turning around. 6th house is not just about work and duties and organization, but it's also about health. So those of you who've been making an effort already to make a change and turn around in their health during the Saturn retrograde, because sometimes Saturn retrograde actually gives us the more perseverance to get things done, to commit to something. So if you've been doing the hard work, maybe to change and improve your routines, whether it's waking up earlier, whether it's taking better care of your health, of your teeth, of supplements, changing your nutrition, well, there will be a turnaround now, in a sense that it will become easier. If it was more of a struggle till now, if it was because it's, you have to make extra efforts when Saturn turns around, you are going to see like it's become more automated, this kind of new health routine is integrated in you. But for some, it might mean that they were blocked they've been thinking about making big health changes, they've been contemplating it, because often retrograde period is like you're doing the research, you're really seeing the negative results of unhealthy habits, and you maybe some health issues appeared, chronic, or some issues that are kind of bothering you, and you become more and more aware when Saturn is retrograde of such things, and you kind of almost like gather up this this power within you, psych yourself up, so to speak. And when Saturn turns direct, you get the motivation to start applying this that you've researched, that you know you have to change, and to start moving ahead in that direction. So there can be change around, turned around in how. So that's why I like when planets are changing, because something big is changing. There's something. So if there was some health problem, it can change now. So the situation there turns around. And usually if you've put the efforts, you'll see the positive change around of the situation. Or you can start putting now efforts, new efforts, because Saturn starts moving forward, and for the next 7 months or more, 7, 8, I think till next July or something like that, or Saturn will be moving direct. So this means that you start on a new path, new territories there to improve your health, your routines, and so on. So now it's this big change that's happening there. Take advantage of it. All right. So this is with Saturn retrograde, turning direct. But there is the really true big thing that is happening. It's the Sun conjunct Mars. And it's happening in your second house, and it will affect you for the next 2 years. Just like Saturn will be affecting you, making you take care of your health, routines, and work and responsibilities and duties, and organize your material life, put more order, become more clean, more hygienic in your life. This is the purpose of Saturn in the 6th. So does the Sun and Mars will be mobilizing you and your energy towards, again, very practical, down-to-earth matters, which is second house is nutrition. One of the things, it's similar, again, it's taking care of the body, the 6th house with health routines. Second house is what do you put in your body. So you might mobilize all your willpower, and willpower that you never had before, about controlling, because Scorpio is a sign of control, and using your willpower, Mars and the Sun, to start a new health routine, like eating routine. Funny enough, my husband is Libra, and we just now, even say it's almost a month before the conjunction, but we're already feeling it. As I said, you can feel it in advance. We decided to eliminate all dairy and all animal products, so vegan kind of. So that's what and he'll feel it. And I've noticed, because Libras have Scorpio in the second house from their ascendant, if it's your ascendant Libra, of course, Sun and Moon as well, it means that you have willpower like no one. Scorpio is the most powerful sign to control your food and to be in, my husband can go 7 days just on water. He never knew he could do it till he tried, and he was like, whoa, But anyway, you can do some feat of willpower that you didn't with Mars activating it for the next 2 years, and the Sun, the cycle, feat of willpower with what you put in your body, how you eat. Babes, that's for you, listen. That you never believed, and it might feel actually easy for you. It's also the second house is teeth. There might be some teeth work that you are doing that's very important, that you are afraid to do till now, but now this courage of Scorpio comes and you do it. But of course it can imply some emergencies or crises that are happening with teeth, or even, breaking the teeth or whatever. But this is focused there on the mouth, the teeth. But that's the most superficial area of it. The next level is finances. Funny enough, they say in ancient astrology, if you want to improve your financial state, first fix your teeth. Weird. What's the connection? But we see in astrology. So this is financial house. You will something will happen that either you motivate yourself so much, almost to the level of obsession, where you put all your warrior energy in creating financial security, stability, going after financial security, and in investing. Second house is about investing. What do you do with the savings that you have? What do you do with the resources that you have already? Or how do you procure more resources? Some of you can become obsession. So, but remember that the constellation that this is happening is of the triumphant arc, where a warrior returns triumphantly. So there is a win. So by the end of this period of 2 years, you might be on the next level financially. You might be at the next level of financial security. But the deeper meaning of the second house is not just finances, it's self-worth. So something can provoke you to really redefine your self-worth, to really fight even for what you value. You might be asked to defend your valuables even. You might be asked, because this is the warrior energy, to defend, whether it's by learning about investments or doing something, or whether it's, I hope not, having to defend physically what you own and property, but sometimes in extreme cases there might be the danger of damage to your possessions, to your valuables, and you have to, like an indomitable, fearless warrior, go and fix it. And in situation of extreme, with finances, you take the really charge and control and turn the situation around. Because Scorpio, yes, the energies, they can be destruction, but they can be also rebuilding, recreation in a better rebirth way by the end of this process. But definitely they can be the new initiation day into a new financial endeavors, into a new, some of you might put a lot of focus and energy in gardening, growing food, growing anything which is about collecting, growing, and creating more security and valuables and so on. So that's truly one of the most important influences there. And self-worth, new chapter that you put in your self-worth, how you build it, and of course how you eat, and what value you put to yourself, and how you take care of your face as well as the second house. And that can be even good for surgeries to teeth or face, or you can be a warrior for money, warrior for anything to do with material stability and so forth. So this is for you the most important. But also I wanted to say that Venus will be in your sign this month around the 9th, 10th. It will go in Libra and will stay there till the end of the month, which is great because you can become more attractive, more agreeable, more gentle. You can attract more people that are helping you in some way. You can attract more money as well. You can attract more pleasurable activities. So if you want to do anything Venusian this year, or even for the next many months, now is the time. So a lot of pleasures are coming to you from after the 10th of November. It might be pleasurable, holidays, pleasurable, more love that comes, more entertainment, more enjoyment, more sensual pleasures as well, good food. If you want to buy clothes or anything of value, now is the time, and indulge the senses. And thank you so much, Libras. If you like to listen to your video for 2024, which is almost 3 hours, you can check my link below, and it's 30% discounted till the 17th of November when I release the videos, and you'll receive them. Or you can check my transits for 2024, which transit calendar, which is 130 pages interactive. I write it every year, so you have direction for the whole year ahead, how to plan it. Thank you. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, November 2023. As you probably guessed by the intro, if you watched it, you would be probably the most affected sign and the most important sign where that will be mobilized this month, but not only this month, but for the next 2 years. Something tremendous will be expected from you, either in your personal life or in the collective life, because of the Mars-Sun conjunction, which is a cycle which takes every 2 years. And it's happening on the 18th of November, but I bet some of you are already feeling it even a month before, like we saw how it's affecting the world with the Middle East, and which is also ruled by Scorpio. So what can I say, guys? You're called to a mission to play an important role in your personal life, to turn your life around in some way. Death and rebirth of Scorpio energy, but it's almost like the universe and God will pour into you a lot more power and a lot more strength than you've had. And I know Scorpio is the most resilient and powerful sign as it is, but sometimes the powers of Scorpio are hidden. Even they're not aware of them until they get activated, because it's a hidden, buried sign. So get ready. Get ready. You'll be saving us. You'll be the ones that people will be coming to in moments of crisis. But because the power is with you. And remember that this conjunction is happening in the constellation of the warrior. You might be called to fight for something. You might be called for something you believe. You might be called to fight, if it's your sun in Scorpio, for your goals, for your career, to use all the willpower you can gather and all the ambition that the universe will give you, and purpose and focus that is indestructible, that is indistractable, not able to be distracted, into fulfilling some goal, if it's your sun. Or something with career, if it's your moon, it can be focused towards your personal life, towards your relationships, towards your emotional world, towards changing your whole self. If it's your ascendant, again, it's you, it's everything in your life. It can be focused towards your body and your health. You might be fighting a war. Let's say that's the scary way to put it, but for your body or for your health. Or you might be mobilizing all your energy to improve your body and health, because Mars is a planet which wants to improve things, funny enough. So you might be asked, for example, some of you might really use amazingly this energy, that they transform their body, whether it's your sun, moon, or ascendant. They all rule the body, especially both the sun and the moon, and the ascendant is the health and the body. With the ascendant is more geared towards the appearance. With the sun and moon, any changes that you do to your lifestyle, they affect your health directly, your vitality, your hormones, your whole well-being, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. So they're all related to health. So you can, for example, transform your appearance over the next 2 years. May lose 100 pounds. And if you've never been able to do that, now it will become possible for you. Especially the later born Scorpios will feel it very strongly, because the conjunction is happening in those degrees, the last 10 degrees of Scorpio, but still, all Scorpios. Or you might transform you might start working out, you might be called to do the battle of your life, but remember, it's the Arch de Triomphe, that the symbol of this lunar mansion is where the conjunction is happening. The warrior that comes back through the arch triumphant after winning the battle. So whatever battle you're going through, you're winning it. You can become way more intense and actually argumentative and pushy. You already are. A lot of Scorpios have this. I mean, there's a lot of gentle Scorpios, I can't definitely, but you can be asked to allow your Scorpionness to lead in some way, because your skills as a Scorpio might be required in some situation, whether it's crisis or whatever, to mobilize all your energy in moments of crisis, in moments of sudden changes. You're the man now, not just in November, as I said, for the next 2 years. Also, it's like for you, definitely a brand new chapter in your life. And that can be very good, a brand new chapter where you're starting on a new direction, a new lifestyle, a new habit, a new, if it's the sun, it might be even career. And that will require to mobilize all your energy for the next 2 years. It's not going to be like, oh, I have to do it. You'll be like, I'm doing it. Your focus is there. You're laser-like focus. You're even excited into it, or you're pushing somehow with your own willpower in that direction. But you see, you're the sign that, even though it's the most strongly affected, has the most willpower and the most influence over the effects of this conjunction over the next 2 years. So I see Scorpios as the people who do some feat of heroism, some feat of willpower they never could before. Whether it's doing something you've always been afraid, whether it's doing something that you never thought was possible, you would find those resources now, and you'd shock yourself, and you'd surprise yourself, and you'd amaze yourself, and you'd horrify yourself. Because sometimes this nakshatra, that the conjunction is happening in Scorpio, it says that it's so obsessive that it can trample over others to get to what it wants, or it can use any means to get to the goal, which implies some kind of immorality as well, or some kind of extreme manifestations you have to be aware of. But for people that need this willpower, it's a godsend to do, if it's your sun or ascendant, to do some big feat. And especially physical body, health, strength. There might be some battle that you have to lead as well. You'll be protecting someone or something that you believe in, some focus. I don't think it will be physical thing. It's definitely the nakshatra, lunar mansion of purpose. So this purpose, something appears to give you this purpose. But of course you have to be careful because there is the extremeness of this energy of Scorpio as well, which is being too extreme, being too horse with blinkers, and being controlling. So those tendencies can intensify because you're called into some leadership role now to take some initiative over the next 2 years. Whether you want it or no, it will happen. You would mobilize your forces somehow, I don't know. And it's not just in November. Maybe it will start in November or even earlier or into December. But it's truly the next 2 years. Even if this thing doesn't appear immediately now in November, please do come back to this video. Save it in favorites. In 2-3 months from now, I'm sure it will start making sense to you. What you're called to do and something that mobilizes your strength, more motivation. Even if you've lost, you remember, that for the past 2 years, the South Node was transiting your sign, Scorpio. And South Node is the tail of the dragon. It excretes the life force. It can lower it, or it can make you more disinterested in the material world, or it can make you less motivated and might have made you for the last 2 years more tired or just more detached, kind of disconnected. Almost spiritual, but now now it's gonna change. So maybe that's exactly what you need, this pumping of force of the warrior Mars, of the creator sun, of the solar energy. And as I said, it's not just in November. It's infused in it in November, but it's unfolding over 2 years for you to do some great achievement of some sort, whatever it is. And the Sun-Mars conjunction as well, you have to be careful more of accidents and things like that, but as well also fighting with others and power struggles with others. Because remember that it's opposite Uranus, the Sun-Mars conjunction. And especially the last 20 degrees, they can feel especially strongly this kind of clash, power struggle with another. Because you're learning to assert yourself more or to express yourself. This is a dharmic house, the first house to express, to understand who you are and to the talents that you have to initiate, but there might be a clash. And especially if you're trying to be more controlling and bossy, Uranus is in your 7th house. Others might want more freedom and might cut you off. Or because it's how you react to others, you might cut off others as well. So there is this possibility here. Maybe not the whole 2-year period, but especially November is very strong. But you'd notice that the next year, the year after that, into it, you might cut off some people from your life big time. But also new people can suddenly appear because Uranus is part of the Sun-Mars, kind of configuration. And you can take some very decisive action, especially in regards to others, because some very fast-moving developments happen in regards to your relationships that make you become courageous and take initiative or do something. But yeah, you'll be expressing yourself more forcefully, more powerfully, hopefully not more aggressively, but that's also a possibility. And you're required to use a lot of willpower, but you can achieve so much. Now it's like seriously some feat of willpower that wasn't possible before. And you initiate. It's very important that over the next 2 years, you'll be put in a role that you initiate, and some new role is coming to your life where you have to cope alone and deal alone or learn to be independent in some way. This is the most independent possible configuration. If someone who is in a dependable relationship or depend on the system or on someone, something will happen that either you rebel or you're thrown out of this dependency and thrown to fend for yourself and to become independent and to become strong. And the fastest way is also to make your body strong and to initiate new beginnings, new learnings, and new, whatever it is that you start. Something that you work, something big you start that you work on it for a couple of years at least. So that's the very important Sun-Mars conjunction for you guys. But there is also Saturn turning direct. It's pretty much on the same degree the whole month, so you might very gradually start seeing those changes happening, but there is a change in direction, and it's in the fifth house. And that's a house of self expression. So it's another self house. Just like the first house, a new role is coming to you, like a shedding of skin, a new, more active, more involved, more public role is coming to you with the Sun and Mars because they're very visible, not shy planets in your face, and a role that makes you be the initiator to start things, to be more powerful in the eyes of others and in your own eyes. In the same way, Saturn in the fifth house, which is another self house, is turning direct. So if you had any blockages to your self expression, oh, shine daisy, wallflower, whatever, or if you've been kind of hit in some way by your self confidence or self expression in some way, when Saturn starts moving direct, this starts easing and improving. And any kind of holding you back to self expression starts falling apart, and you're allowed to self express more. Or if you were working on some creative project during the Saturn retrograde period, but it was blocked or delayed, or you just had to put extra efforts, now you're going to start seeing the results, so it starts moving forward. Maybe you're doing a website, maybe you're doing a business that you're not seeing it's been going slow, but Saturn starts moving direct, and things start moving ahead for the next 7-8 months till Saturn is moving direct, again with effort, but direct. Or maybe your love life was on the low. Maybe it was dry, Saturn. Maybe it was a bit like Antarctica, or maybe it was painful even, or you didn't have time for it because of responsibilities and duties, so you didn't have time to have fun because you're buried in either parental responsibility or work responsibility, and you haven't been able to enjoy romantic dinners or just go to the theater, whatever. Well, when Saturn starts moving direct, again, there will be easing off of those responsibilities or blockages to your love life and to having fun and enjoying yourself. Again, it needs to be more planned, it needs to be more organized, but it becomes easier. Or if there was some blockage, for example, some complications of a feeling of aloof or distant from a romantic partner, or even a test of a romantic relationship, but if it's still active, it can start improving now. Or maybe if there was an important decision you took about a romantic relationship and it was painful for you, grieving process, now it starts improving. Saturn starts moving direct, at least the emotional feeling of it. Now, fifth house also is your children. If there was some complications or difficulties with your children, or in regards to your, in your relationship with them, or what they're going through, or in getting even pregnant, Saturn starting moving direct, there can be improvement now. Or if you've been working on changing something with working on some project with your children, or they've been changing something in their life, they've been making some important decisions, now you'll see that things will start coming back to normal, improving, becoming easier. If you've been working on some creative project, or you felt like a blockage of your creativity, it starts again moving forward. Start turning the direction around. So turn the direction in a romantic relationship, turn around in the direction with the relationship with the child, or in the life of the child, turn around in the direction of some creative project, self-expression, and so on. So, yeah, that's Scorpio for you. You're the most important sign. Some powerful new beginnings there, and you might play even a very important role for your personal life. One of the memorable 2-year period in your life. I don't think in your lifetime again there will be Sun Mars conjunction in Scorpio. Maybe. But yeah, you're called to gather your forces, mobilize yourself to do something important now. Let's see what it is. And by the way, if you want to hear your horoscope for 2024, it's 3 hours almost. Check out my 2024 video horoscope, the 30% off. And they are available on November the 17th. But if you order it before November the 17th, you get the discount, and we send it to you when it's ready, I'm ready already with them, but I'll hold them off till November 17th because I want to edit them a bit and so on. So also the calendar for 2024 is ready if you're interested, 130 pages interactive. As I said, those calendars and horoscopes were sent since we started doing them from 2018, around 20,000 of them now. So people love them, they buy them so much, so I keep doing them. This is the most important work for me and I give you all my heart for it if you want to see it. Thank you. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, November 2023. Sagittarius, the month starts with Saturn turning direct at the beginning of the month on the 3rd, 4th, and it's happening in your 4th house. And you might not immediately feel it, but it will take Saturn, it's at the same degree pretty much the whole of November, but there is gradual shift of direction in circumstances surrounding your home or family or parents or relatives or parenthood responsibilities. So say, for example, if you've been having some problems with property, things breaking down, or you're doing some renovations and it's delayed and more problems are coming or more expenses or the builders, whatever, or you're trying to sell or buy property and it's been delayed, or you had to make extra efforts to make it more sellable, to improve it, to make it look good. Or you've been trying to move somewhere, but it's been kind of extra hard. Well, now Saturn starts moving direct. All those problems change. They shift. They turn around. So things get easier. Maybe you're able to sell or buy easier, to move, or to solve some family problem. If there was some conflict or aloofness or distance or cooling off of relationships with parents, or maybe extra duties and responsibilities because of taking care of children or elderly parents, or taking care of land or property or anything to do with your home. Well, those start easing off, things start coming back to normal. It's not as laborious and difficult, it's not as strained. If there was some emotionally, psychologically issues, and especially when Saturn is retrograde in the 4th house, one can be digging back into the past, trying to understand the past, and anyone Sagittarius might be, or if there've been some unresolved family repeating pattern, like karma, family karma, everyone gets divorced, or everyone ends up poor, or everyone has an addiction problem, and you might have worked on those issues with Saturn retrograde, became aware of them, or been, kind of them intensifying, but recognizing those patterns. Now that Saturn turns direct, you might see that easing off of such. Maybe you helped solve off this family karma, or you become aware and deliberate about it, so it becomes easier not to repeat it. Or maybe you, if there were heavy feelings when Saturn is retrograde in the 4th house, which has been for the last 4 or 5 months, the feelings get heavier. The feelings feel emotionally more intense, especially the first 10 degrees Sagittarius people, Sun, Moon, or Rising, they would have felt that, because that's where Saturn's been moving, and especially the very early degrees of Sagittarius now feel it. If you're 1, 2, 3, 4 degrees, Saturn is there, retrograde. And it starts improving. Emotionally, it becomes lighter. The burden, the responsibility at home, or the karmic heaviness that you feel, or if you've been having problems with your stomach, even is the 4th house, or with the breast and stomach, sensitive stomach, or whatever issues, they might start improving. But Saturn will stay in your 4th house for another 2 years. It will go retrograde another time, but then it will be later degrees Sagittarius that might feel those things. But yeah, for some of you Sagittarius, if you have been experiencing any of those 4th house things, they start improving, or relationships with parents, or your parents have been going through some hard period. But it's possibly maybe more the early born Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising only, that they've been experiencing that. Plus, it's not only family, Saturn making square to your sign, it can be just blockages, delays of any sort, feeling more under the weather, feeling less motivated. It also starts easing off, of having just more obstacles or more responsibilities. It starts easing off, turning around some difficult situation in your life. But also if you've been someone who's been putting a lot of hard work into something over the last few months, whether it's exercise, whether it's routines, whether it's working on some project, now Saturn turning direct will start rewarding you, because while it's retrograde, you don't see fully the results yet. Now it turns direct, and over the next 7 months, your project starts moving forward. Whatever you've been putting efforts in starts flowing, not becoming difficult. It becomes almost automated and part of you. So this is about the Saturn retrograde, but we have the really very important event that it starts a new cycle in your life that you'll be focused for 2 years. And it's actually in your 12th house, Sagittarius. And that's another kind of spiritual, more house connected to, the soul. That's where Saturn is already working there to solve family, psychological issues, emotional. But now the other very important event, and Saturn will be there for 2 more years, that this event, Sun-Mars conjunction, active for 2 years, till the next cycle that they'll join the end of 2025. So 2 years. What is it starting? For some of you, it might be, and it's very hard to talk about mobilizing energy because Mars and the Sun, they're very physical energy, but the 12th house is very spiritual. So it's almost like you'll be mobilizing your willpower in the most spiritual and in more invisible realms. For some of you, it might be, for example, to really destroy and win over, because that's the combination of the winner in the constellation of the triumphant arc, Vishaka, which is a warrior coming back after a battle with a win. And you might have a major win over the next 2 years over some addiction, for example, over some inner self-sabotaging behavior, which is 12 house rules, all of those things. What is the thing that you sabotage yourself through? What is the thing that siphons your energy away, that you unconsciously do? Well, now the Sun will bring the light there, and the Mars, the warrior spirit, to fight with those, with your inner demons or with your hidden other demons, and you come out triumphant. So this can be, and you're not going to have Sun-Mars conjunction again in your lifetime, in this lifetime, it's, I don't know, maybe in 40 years or something. I'm not sure, I have to check. But it's a rare opportunity because this is the most will-generating combination that gives you the strength and conscious willpower to focus your energy in something, to change it. And for you, it's more subtle. It's more like an internal battle, or battle with those of you who are psychic. It might be like very busy astrally traveling and saving people in situations, helping the dead to sleep. These things also, some people experience that. Astrally that, and you wake up every morning exhausted, fighting demons and whatever. I'm kidding. But also sometimes it can indicate some sleep problems, because these are 2 very active planets that are starting cycle in the house of rest. So active at night, I don't know. So, I don't know if that might change your routine or something, but no, I don't think so. But more like, if there's some sleep problems, it can be a good time to become more active, and that will help you, more physical in some way. I don't know how else, because or to do some spiritual practices, which is also the 12th house, which are active, like Qigong, not just sitting and meditating. It's not going to be easy. More like or Kriya Yoga, or there's more movement as well. But you can have a major psychic win, major spiritual cleansing, major spiritual detox almost of negative entities, of negative influences, of hidden enemies. There are entities in our bodies that attach and that make us compulsive towards something, whether it's sex, whether it's money, whether it's food, whether it's drugs or whatever. You can basically win that battle now with this darkness. Or it can be very powerful where you mobilize all your energy and consciously overcome some psychological issue from the past, fears, attachments, and release them. Like a fearless warrior, cut off connection with the past, because the 12th house stores the past lives, and they can become very active memories or parallel lifetimes you see, or Mars conjunction with Sun in the 12th house. It can give you access to spiritual realms very fast. if you are interested in that, even if you're not, it can happen spontaneously there. To dream worlds, to knowledge from invisible worlds, to sudden downloads of information. If you're anyone working in such field, psychic healer, whatever, whoa, 2 years, very intense period of a lot of things happening. Or you can just dedicate a lot of energy into learning mystical, spiritual topics, into spiritual exercises, meditation, into religion, whether it's religion, spirituality, mystical experiences. Or you can really master and combine your energy and put it into helping others, because 12th house is a house of charity. I don't know, start, and actually even physically, like homes for humanity, what was it? Habits for habitat or whatever, where you go and help other people build houses for the homeless, or where you actively engage your energy, resources in helping those in need, those with the less than you, with whatever help, not just with money, it might be with your skills, with your abilities. So get involved in something if you want to use the high vibration of this for the next 2 years in helping someone in need, in some kind of charity, cook for someone on the weekends, I don't know. Or it can play in a totally different way for some of you, because 12th house is foreign country. You might have a new beginning in a foreign country, new unknown environment, far away, overseas, whatever. Because it's a new cycle starting, new chapter that will mobilize your focus, your energy, your passion, your struggles, your battles, your fights, your passions, your excitements. It's all kind of gathered there. So you might have to be, starting some new beginning abroad or whatever that you didn't have the courage before, and you'll be successful. There's the combination of the triumphant warrior. Or you might be having some battle with people from abroad. That's the negative manifestation. I hope not. With someone from faraway lands or with invisible entities. I wish not. I wish it not for you. But again, you win. You kind of those invisible forces, you overcome them. You come on top. They might be, but of course, if you're battling some addition, there might be intensification at the beginning, the first year or the first few months. So you become aware of that issue more, and then the battle begins, and with willpower you overcome it and you're successful. 12th house can be anything to do with studies, research, so you might be putting a lot of your focus or energy on such matters as well. I hope not battling hidden enemies, invisible enemies, but you are not leaving them do whatever they want. You discover who you are, who they are, and you stand for yourself, and you win over those hidden not well wishers, whatever you'd call them. The 12th house is house also of retreats and libraries and hospitals. I hope it's not that, but if you work in any of such areas, you might be very busy, or you might have some experience there that you spend some time, or in foreign lands, as they said, or in more isolation. You might be working on some project behind closed doors is the 12th house, and where it's like you might be creating music, you might be writing a book, but you might put a lot more energy either in the dream world or in the imaginative world. Or on another way, if you're not someone who is creative, who creates those things, there might be some new creative project that appears for you that you download suddenly with knowledge, with information. If you're a researcher, wow, this fantastic time for researchers for 2 years, because you dig deep and you find research things that are incredible, that you never thought possible. Or if you're studying the occult or psychology or astrology, you'll have some incredible realizations. The deepest realizations are in the 12th house. The deepest digs and finds that actually once you realize those things, they absolve you from karma and so on. But so yeah, for creative people, this can be very active, but it's more in the subconscious, in the imaginative, into the inner world, or people who want and love to psychological digging, reading esoteric literature, reading psychological literature. Very productive, very powerfully transforming time for those. But people that always want to see results outside, they might feel more frustrated. They might feel like, oh, their efforts and energy is disappeared. Their motivation is not on the external world, but the internal. That's why for such people that are not, like, for example, I'm not a meditator and whatever. I always like external results. Yeah, I'm very interested in astrology and spiritual things, but some people might not be. So I would advise them get involved in foreign countries. Just stay away from the danger zones. You might be attracted to very dangerous foreign places now with the Scorpio energy, but stay away from the danger zones. Or you might be attracted to go helping missionaries in rescues to foreign countries, to those in need in war zones or earthquake zones. That's a possibility as well. To mobilize your forces like that, this is a very good way to use it. I'm not saying all Sagittarius will go and be in missions around the world, but yeah, if that's something you want to do, that might just as well be, or some business that is spiritual healing. Yes, this can be the active area. So there you go, Sagittarius. This is this 12th house. A lot of internal work, new beginnings, possibly in foreign places or in the spiritual, new revelations there, and winning some internal strength, some internal battle as well with inner demons or whatever. Or just this 12th house focus for creatives, for people of art, for people of any 12th house activities. They'll be very, very busy in the next 2 years. So thank you so much. And by the way, Venus will be in your 11th house from the 10th of November, so the last 20 days, or 8th of November, the last 20 days. Venus in the 11th house will be very good, and it's active just in November. Very good to socialize, to meet friends, to make new friends. Very enjoyable, kind of suave and pleasant company. Can be good to participate something with large groups of people, whether it's a concert, whether it's a festival, whether it's something online, subscriptions. You enjoy all such kind of things. So you might receive more public attention. If you want to do anything in the public where you want to be accepted in a good way, present a project or presentation, or do it then. This is, any social do's you want to do the last 20 days of November, fantastic. You'll have great results. Plus the 11th house is the house of friendships. You can ask for help from friends. They'll help you. There will be good developments there. Or the 11th house, the house of gains. You can have more gains from your business, from your commercial business activity or network. You can increase your network, your following, if you are in such kind of area of work. So thank you very much, Sagittarius. By the way, if you like to hear your 2024 video horoscope, 3 hours almost, I'm releasing them on November the 17th, but if you order them before November the 17th, you get 30% off. And we've sold possibly now around 20,000 of those. So people really love them since I started making them, and each year I make them even more in depth, more informational. I pour my soul and heart into those. So thank you so much. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, November 2023. Capricorn, the month starts with good news for you. Saturn, the planet that rules you, is turning direct. Hey, it's been retrograde for the last 5 months. And it's been retrograde where? In your 3rd house. So first of all, generally when your planet turns direct, you notice that the direction in your life starts to shift as well. Almost like the karma, especially if it's been heavier, slower, more difficult, you notice it won't be overnight, because Saturn takes like a whole month to turn direct. They say it starts on the 3rd, 4th of November, but it still stays on the same degree the whole month. But you'll see this month a turnaround to a positive direction, easier direction, not necessarily positive, easier direction. And things start happening with less effort, or a bit slowly, they start moving forward instead of being stuck, or instead of moving backwards. So whatever area in your life you're working on, you'll see gradual forward move of improvement, and Saturn will be direct for the next 7-8 months. So you creep, because Capricorns always proceed slowly, will creep slowly but consistently towards new territories, and things will happen more according to expectations rather than, with delays or restrictions. But this happens every year. But definitely you'll see turnaround, and especially in the area of life, where Saturn is turning around and for you, which is the third house. So if you've had some delays or complications in some project, the business or commercial project, marketing or information project, anything to do with branding or working in a small team environment with others, if you had some tensions or complications or delays, or if you're working on a website or a media project, anything that requires writing, speaking, or using your skills, whether your skills is IT or whether your skill is cooking and you're making videos for cooking, or whether your skill is customer service on the phone, whatever your skill is, and if it's been kind of hard on you, or if work in in any kind of requiring your extra skills and knowledge might have been more, let's say, such projects might have been going slower, that starts turning around as well. Or communications might have been more laborious and difficult, and even your social life might have been more on hold and more blocked. That starts changing again, because third house is also social. If you had problems with transportation or communication devices, or some delays or some breakages or whatever, or they start improving again. Or if you're for example, if you felt unheard, if you felt ignored in social environment, this again will start changing. Or if you had a problem with a friend or with siblings, or with relatives or with neighbors, this starts solving itself again when Saturn starts turning direct. There is some kind of resolution, easing off. If you had problems with colleagues, again, this starts easing off. Or if you've been working very hard on acquiring some new skill while Saturn was retrograde or in the previous months or years, now you're going to see when Saturn turns direct in your third house that it's becoming easier, that it's becoming automatic for you. So this is the reward of Saturn when it turns direct. Or if you've been working on some commercial project or whatever, business or intellectual, learning a skill, or using your mind and skills and or hands or brain behind, if you've been doing some such kind of heavy work or taking courses or studying something, acquiring skill, now when Saturn turns direct, you see you become much more masterful. It's easier to you. So the reward from learning the skill. So that's another way it can play out. But yes, all those third house, social interactions, communications, travel, it's starting to move ahead. Or if you've been working on some project for self-wealth, which means usually to make a business. Third house in ancient astrology is known the house of self-made wealth. So this 2 years, while Saturn is in your third house, some of you are making efforts towards self-made wealth, which comes through skills. Now we know it in Western astrology, the sky is the house of skills, of how clever you are, your brain, what you've learned, how to self-made wealth, you use your skills, So you might be working towards upgrading your skills, your knowledge back, or, that's what Saturn requires for you for the next 2 years. And for really being more cautious of socially who you allow, finding people that will be useful to you and collaborating with them, rather than people that waste your energy, who you give your energy to. So Saturn is working on this for the next 2 years, not just now, but, you're becoming more aware of those matters. But the other big event is that the Sun and Mars will join in your 11th house. It means that for the next 2 years, another social house is activated with all of your willpower. Actually, here things will develop much faster. Saturn works slowly. Again, it will take it 2 years, Saturn in this third house, and the Sun and Mars 2 years to complete whatever project you'll be doing there. But it definitely, things move faster there. And Sun and Mars, and you'll be victorious. You'll be successful at that. But Sun and Mars, they can mobilize your energy towards some new long-term goal and dream. This is the house of long-term goal or dreams. So you can almost like with warrior-like passion and precision, with warrior-like obsession. Remember, it's happening in Scorpio, the most obsessive sign in the constellation of the triumphant arc, where warriors return triumphant after war, that you go after with this willpower and determination and focus and undivided attention towards some long-term goal. You can achieve by the end of this 2-year period or over the next 2-year period at sometimes some title and honor, some I don't know, PhD or doctor or I don't know, some award. I remember when there was Mars conjunction into the 11 from my moon, I think it was, I gained the YouTube honor, an award, It is some kind of an award, possibly. You can be working really hard with all your willpower towards achieving some goal, some target as well, It's very ambitious house, the 11th house. And Mars and Sun is a great combination there to have, but it's almost like warlike willpower you have to use in that direction, but you'll succeed. It also 11th house is gains and financial gains. So you might be working and mobilizing all your forces into a bigger salary, for example, for a bonus, not just in November, but for the next 2 years, or to reach more clients, or to reach more audience, or to spread some message or information that's important for you, mobilizing all energy in that, because the 11th house rules all of those things. So to spread all your, to contribute something to society. You might be mobilizing your energy to contribute to some cause or to some group of like-minded people, even to participate in some social movements of that are connected to changing the world, bringing awareness to others. Or you might be making a project that you're spreading out and you put all your focus because you think it will help society and it's going to be viral. And you're going to have a very good grasp on what it is and what does society need to go towards it, what are the trends, and to immediately go after them. Sun, Mars, it's initiative. You go and grasp it. If you get an opportunity to participate with more people in something, I don't know, it's some like LiftUber or some other social economic experiment or project, do it, because there will be some big opportunity there that you can get involved for quite some time, for a few years. You might get activated into participating in networks of some sort, into participating in economic opportunities, and you can be very ambitious and driven for business. You can be almost like ruthless-like and get really achieved in your business and getting more clients and following and so on. But they can be power struggles. It's Scorpio, and this nakshatra, Luna mansion in particular, it's razor sharp. It does not, the horse with blinkers, it goes after what it wants. So there might be clashes that you have to fight with friends, for example, on opinions, and you might they might be fighting with friends for a cause, or fighting with like-minded people for a cause that you believe in, for a cause that really activates your passion and the warrior inside. Or this might be that, the worst case scenario, power struggles with friends, but also it can mean a new group of friends that appears. It's a new cycle that are more Mars solar-like, driven, maybe bossy, but maybe visionary as well, full of ideas. And it's going to be a good idea not to try and do things alone over the next 2 years. First of all, Saturn wants you to be very cautious who you choose in your life. But again, it tells you work, because Saturn is work, and Saturn is you're involved with others. Third house is kind of social house. You're involved, but in a more, deliberate way, to do something, maybe when you get involved with them, to do something productive, constructive, rather than waste your time. While Sun and Mars conjunction over the next 2 years is asking you to mobilize your forces with more people, not just to do it alone, like-minded, to find your tribe and to do something with your tribe about changing the world or changing your circumstances, following a goal of yours, So that's how it can play out. Yes, or you might be fighting, as I said, or you might be very involved in some kind of social, what's happening in the world, and fighting there, and get very, involved and active, or really grab an opportunity that appears in social and economic way because the 11th house is the markets, and Sun and Mars are proactive. You grab this opportunity and go after and do something wealth again. So you see there's both the 3rd and the 11th, the social, the networking houses. They're connected to one self-made wealth, the other one to markets and putting yourself out there in the public eye, creating networks, forging. Sun and Mars in the 11th house can make you very, what's that called, like initiative towards creating networks, towards finding clients, pushing through with your ideas, spreading information and so on. And that's the way to do it, as long as it's not like some public battle fight. That's like it had just this image. It's power struggle, public, very public one of some sort. That's another extreme possibility. Of course, Capricorn, let's not just scare you. For this month, it's not scary. There's a lot of good stuff. Venus will be in your 10th house only this month. So it's just a short influence, but it's in a beautiful state. No malefic influences, no bad influences. So they say when there is a benefic in the 10th house, everything of this house goes great. And that's your career. This is your career goals. This is relationships with authority figures, with parental figures, with anyone who is in authority. You can have good developments there, things moving forward in some way with ease. Maybe your public image will be a bit more improved. A great time to shop for clothes if you want to impress others in the public image, or to meet up with people in power, authority, to reach out to them, or someone that is, that you respect or has more experience, or even a woman of kind to help you there. But yeah, if you have anything to work to do, this November is very good for it as well. It's going smoothly. So there you go, Capricorns. And if you'd like to hear your 2024 Capricorn horoscope, which is almost 3 hours, my best work every year, where I put in my heart and soul, more than 20,000 people have opted to get those horoscopes since I started doing them. So it's obviously they're very, very loved and popular, and that's why I keep doing them. Otherwise I would not, because it's 2 months that my 3 hours every day. It's crazy, but I love doing them because they're useful to you. And also my calendar for 2024, I write them every year, 130 pages with all the unique influences that are happening for that year, what will be happening in the world, personally, so you can plan your year accordingly. Planets moving direct, what does it mean? Invisible, becoming visible, what does it mean? Jupiter moving into Gemini, what does it mean? All of this, I write them personally. My interpretations, again, 30% off if you get it before November the 17th. Thank you. Sun, Moon, Rising, November 2023. Aquarius, the month starts with planet that rules as Saturn, turning direct. Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. It rules the more material manifestation, so especially the physical part of our life. So it's very good news from the 3rd, 4th, Saturn turning direct in the 2nd house for us. So first of all, generally when our planet turns direct, you'll see that things start moving more easy. Responsibilities ease off, or something that was burdensome, sorry, or heavy becomes easier. Even for your health, if there was some kind of a heaviness or some testings, it start unfolding. Turn around. Saturn rules if it's your ascendant, your physical body, even Sun and Moon, it's your levels of energy and well-being. You can see a turn around in those directions. And if you've been putting efforts to improve yourself, you can start seeing the results now. But also if other areas of your life have been delayed, because Saturn rules the whole of us, or they've been just dragging or requiring extra efforts, it becomes easy again. Also, your mood can lift up gradually through November. It's like you're not carrying that heavy of the planet on your shoulders. So it's kind of lighter energy, forward moving. And for the next 7-8 months, the planet that rules the Saturn is moving forward. So we slowly move forward ahead as well, and into new territories. But of course, Saturn turning direct in our second house will also impact that. If there's been some delays with finances or blockages or things not being as good as normal, more testing, you can start seeing gradual improvement of that. You can start seeing things from November taking another direction, turnaround in financial situation. Of course, if you've been putting efforts to secure over the last few months into some project to secure more financial stability or whatever, those efforts now you'll start seeing the results of them, whether you've been working extra hard on something or whatever. Now you can start seeing the results of it. For better or worse, depends how shitty the job you did or how good you did, what the rewards will be from that. I hope good, I'm hoping the same. But of course, knowing that when Saturn is in the second house, there is always, for the next 2 years. Yes, it's turning direct, but it's going to carry on being in the second sign from Aquarius, which is connected to resources, finances over the next 2 years. So it's a strong focus for 2 years, and it might not always go as we wish or as fast as we wish, but there is now improvement, at least temporary for a few months. And it's about mastering that sphere of life. And you can continue ahead with new projects for financial stability and so on. But also there is, second house is the house of resources. So if there was some obstacles with gaining resources or problems with valuables like breaking down or anything in your possessions, property that you've been working on, you might start seeing the results. Maybe you are trying to salvage some old things and or maybe you've been trying to repair something. Now Saturn turns direct, you can start seeing the good results of it. Okay, so again, but everything financial for the next 2 years ahead, you have to be more cautious, more traditional, invest in more traditional things, never rush, and impetuous, so to speak. Also, if you've had some problems with teeth, because this is the second house, Saturn turning direct can start helping you solve those problems or the situation changes. I've been having a toothache since Saturn turned retrograde, and I keep going to the dentist and I freak out and I leave. So one tooth, so I'm still postponing it. I'm just hoping it spontaneously recovers now that Saturn turns direct in my second house. Who knows? It might. If you've been doing some teeth work, now it can end. Or if you've been doing some efforts to change your eating habits, now when Saturn turns direct at the beginning of November, it will become easier for you. It will start giving the results. You'll start say, for example, now Saturn retrograde, I just decided to eliminate dairy to see what happens because I've been having some gastric problems. And so I'm doing this. With Saturn retrograde, you do the hard work. With Saturn turning direct, you start seeing a change and you start seeing like the rewards for that. Or you might go back to the previous way because you find out it did not affect you in any way. Go back to how things were. Or because you healed something by changing your eating habits, Saturn direct, and things change, so you can go back. Or to how you ate. Or it can mean that something shifts the direction, how you eat, your diet starts shifting, your attitude towards your diet, because it's a change of a direction. I don't know in which direction it will go. Just expect something big is shifting this most of October and most of November for you into your mindset towards food, towards your self-worth, towards finances, towards in the direction of all those things, and even family situation. So that's about Saturn. Then let's look at the really next very important event that will affect you also for the next 2 years. It's happening in another earth house, which means house of worldly responsibilities and duties, just like Saturn is asking you for the next 2 years to be responsible, mature, and organized with finances, resources, with food, with what you put in your body, the kind of very material, practical things. The same way, the Sun-Mars conjunction in the 10th house will ask you to mobilize your energies and focus on career. Again, very mundane part of life, but something, and that's not just career, it's like your mission there. And it's happening at 25 degrees Scorpio 24, that's where exactly my midheaven is. If you're Aquarius rising, maybe your midheaven is there, somewhere around those degrees. But it's happening in the 10th sign from Aquarius, if it's your sun or moon as well. So it's really new chapter starts in your life, guys, in our lives. New chapter where it mobilizes our energy to this 10th house of some career project you might be working on. For some of you, it can mean a new chapter, new career that appears in your life, that mobilize your focus, your energy, your resources. And you come out victorious, though, because this combination of Sun and Mars, they're conjunct in the nakshatra Vishaka, which is symbolized by a warrior coming back triumphantly from war, passing through an arc. So there is focus, there is indestructible willpower, and eventually winning. Sometime in these 2 years, within 2 years, some kind of a peak of achievement. Because there is so much willpower that Vishaka has, the most willful, the most powerful constellation is considered out of 27, the most powerful lunar mansion that this conjunction is happening. It's happening in your 10th house. So you're asked to mobilize your resources, your energy to achieve something great, the great work in this lifetime. And it's not going to happen again. Sun-Mars conjunction in Scorpio for probably not many years. I don't know how many, 30, 40, I have to check. Excuse me if I haven't, but the last one was in Virgo, then in Libra, in Scorpio. Maybe the next one will be in Capricorn or Sagittarius. We'll wait for a while. So once in a lifetime opportunity to achieve something like a peak, to mobilize all your energy as a soldier, to maybe to fulfill some duty or responsibility towards the world, maybe to create a career, maybe to fulfill a goal, maybe some business to change, to structure something new there, and you'd be at the peak, but there might be a struggle, and you're required to put the energy. But you have this obsessive streak that is being activated by the Sun and Mars in Scorpio. This all or nothing. And it might be has also destructive energy where you destroy certain structures in your life, certain whatever is your social status, and whatever is your status is you destroy it, or whatever your career is destroyed, but you rebuild it and you come up victorious and you come up on top, or you just do something new there. And even if it happens to you not because of you want it, but because it's kind of circumstances change, so it's imposed on you, you definitely will again be able to mobilize all your resources to take the situation in hands and take it whatever you want. So something big you're doing there, not in November only. Yes, in November you'll be very busy. Maybe the ideas will start coming, but and things will start moving fast. But there can be some, it's after all Scorpio, power struggles with father figure, power struggles with, it started for me already, power struggles with authorities, power struggles with bosses, clashing heads, big way. If you're the boss figure yourself, you can become a bit authoritarian, you can become a bit bossy, but also you're very initiative and great example of dedication for the next 2 years. If you're the boss, you can as well be given more power, be given more executive decisions of some sort, even if you're not the boss, to take some major decisions, executive and so on. And also you might be asked, no matter what position you are in, to take your power in regards to changing the world and achieving your goals, so to really become strong in that area. And if there is some authority that is being over you, that is power hungry, that is abusing you in some way, and it might be a boss, it might be the government, it might be police, you might have a clashes with those, but you are fighting against them because your warrior spirit, remember Vishaka is the warrior god, where the constellation is happening. Your inner warrior is being born there. Maybe people will see it around you in the world, this warrior spirit in you, this pioneer spirit as well, because Mars is pioneer warrior. You might be fighting for some cause, and that becomes very visible for you, or maybe mobilizing all your energy in some visible role, or starting a new career, new job. But also there is this tension with Uranus in the 4th house between parents' axis. So there might be something very sudden or more intense that happens with parents, that happens on home and family, some even relocations because Uranus is involved. Suddenly, unexpectedly, some changes in that area. It's dynamic, it's a bit stressful, but big changes on this axis, not just now in November, but for the years ahead as well, for the year ahead, 1 year and further ahead. So what are you going to be called to do that will be visible for the world, or to fight with some authority, or I don't know, or some great work that is expected from you, and taking your power and taking leadership role, initiative role. Right, authority position. So this is it, Aquarius. Let's just quickly mention Venus because it's active just for this month. So we give you some idea also just for the November energies. I always love to look at Venus because it shows us where the good things and the easy things come for us during that month. And it's happening in your 9th house. Venus will be there from around the 9th, 10th of November till the end of November. So you have 20 days where Venus in the 9th house is great because Venus is in another self house. So you feel Venus energy way more than normal. You feel more attractive, more agreeable, more kind, even though the warrior spirit there to achieve is high with you, with visibility and being busy with responsibilities and career. But Venus in the 9th house can be a fantastic time to travel, go abroad, go on a trip far away in a place you haven't met. Or if you can't travel physically, even though Venus can make it easier, go on a travel with your mind, learning higher knowledge, take a course, and you'll find it very enjoyable, something very pleasurable. Higher-minded, study astrology, or you might be interested in philosophy or art, something, again, more cultural. It can be a great time to apply for any university if you want to be accepted easily, or if you have any teaching project or educational project, do it the last 20 days of November. Learning project, fantastic. If you want to apply for any documents for abroad or for visas, again, the last 20 days of November can go quite well. All right. This is it. And of course, there's more of the Venusian energy. This is it for your Aquarius. If you want to hear your 2024 video horoscope that I made almost 3 hours, it's in the link below. It's discounted 30% till November 17th when I release them, but after that they'll go on for full price, and you can also get a package for smaller price. And we've sold about more than, I don't know, maybe around 20,000 of those since I started making them, because people really love them and I really give it my all. And also the 2024 calendar is coming out on November 17th. It's already ready, but I'm keeping it down so more people can buy it in advance and get a discount before that, where I cover every transit. I write it every year for you to know what transits to expect, how to plan your year ahead, and what it means. Every new moon, full moon, just specifically for that year, how it's going to affect people. What is it good to do? When Jupiter goes to Sagittarius, to Gemini next year, when Jupiter joins Uranus, when Venus makes a trine to Neptune or Saturn, what is that good for? What to expect, and so on. And it's again 30% discount. So thank you so much, and I'll see you. Let's see the new mission that Aquarius receive. Sun, Moon, Rising, November 2023. Pisces, good news is that Saturn is turning direct in your sign. Bad news is it's still gonna stay in your sign for 2 more years, testing you, making you mature, making you get yourself together and become more responsible, more organized towards your body, towards your health, making you become aware of time running out and what your priorities should be, that you can't just dilly-dally around and just go with the flow. Sometimes you have to put extra effort. Sometimes you have to become responsible. And those of you who are already responsible, this Saturn is very good for them because it makes you really build powerful foundations for the next 30 years. And those of you who are not used to responsibility and moderation and self-control and the power of no and the power of postponing pleasure for the long term in order to focus, for the short-term pleasure in order to focus on what is a priority, they'll have hard time for the next 2 years while Saturn is there. But they'll learn it the hard way because of consequences of instant gratification. But if you already have the slant of mind, Saturnian, this is okay. But you're working on you. You're building a new you. You're building a more streamlined, more elegant you. You that is definitely more in control, that is more mature, that is more adapted to the rules and regulations of Earth and the laws of Earth, rather than is just woo, one leg in the spiritual world, in their own world, one leg here. It's Saturn wants to ground you, and it's about time. With Neptune being in your sign for 12 years, Pisces. Whoa! I mean, beautiful, fantastic, inspirational, but also, I mean, come on, some order. And yes, it can feel heavy, but that's exactly what you need. And Saturn is now turning direct. So if things were especially heavier, especially for the first 10 degrees Pisces from 0 till 10 in the last few months, now, especially, the first 5 degrees, they feel it very strongly. Intensely, especially if their moods were lower, whether it's your moon, whether they had some loss, whether they had some breaking of the heart, whether they had some very difficult period of doubting themselves, of new beginnings, or kind of being even with health problems sometimes, or with problems, but if you've had any such problems, Saturn starting to turn direct, or some delays or blockages, or feeling like stagnated, like stuck, not being able to move, gradually, maybe not immediately from November, but you'll start feeling it towards the end of November and into December, in the next 7-8 months, then we'll start moving directly forward, because Saturn will be moving direct in your horoscope. So some old problems will finish, Pisces. Some old problems, it's the last push, November, Saturn turns direct, and they'll start getting resolved. Is it a health problem? Is it, if it's your sun, moon, or ascendant, especially the first 7-8 degrees, it might be even a health problem, energy problem, emotional depression, or any kind of career with the sun, or blockage there. Or loneliness, it starts resolving and becoming easier. The later degrees, from 7, 8, 9 till 30, they'll feel Saturn later on in the next year, the year after that. But you're already pushing through the first Saturn retrograde. So the first waves, you felt them. Just remember, follow the rules with Saturn, learn to say no, learn to limit yourself, and to learn the power of limiting yourself, the power of self-control, and you'll be flowing through this. Just some kind of moderation, restriction, and learning to postpone instant gratification in order to work on what's more important and to prioritize. Follow those rules. Saturn will reward you like never. I've seen when Saturn transits people's sun, moon, or ascendants. And now when Saturn starts moving direct for you, Pisces, building new foundations, stronger body, will having more determination, more focus, more control in their life, building actual structures, actual visible things in your life, not just dreaming, not just, now being the building blocks of your future you're doing. But you need to set your priorities right. And then with Saturn, yes, you're building foundations, so you don't see the house till the very end. So it feels like you're on it's very growing very slowly, but it's needed. You're building a new you and a new roles in life. And some say when Saturn transits your sun, moon, or ascendant, it's a great work you're doing, the great opus. But of course, it can be heavy, it can be hard, but thankfully you're going to get respite of a few months. With Saturn starting to move direct, it's not going to be as intense. And those of you who've been working hard on something, on building those foundations, on, building anything at work, or more responsibilities and duties, and they've been hitting those responsibility and duties and taking and really applying the power of no and the power of self-restraint and prioritizing well. If you've been those Pisces over the last few months, now Saturn turning direct will reward you. It will become easy for you to do this. Instead of like an effort and having to use willpower, you'll start seeing the results, whether with improved health, with the first results of your actual work and efforts and changes that you've made. So that's the first good news. The other news is that Mars and the Sun will be joining in your ninth house, another self house for you. Another self house, another water house is the house of the higher self. Oh, these flies, they're killing me. Talking about Scorpio, and flies are ruled by Scorpio because what? They like to eat shit. Sorry. Because, Scorpio rules excrements, but those flies have been, Mars conjunct the Sun in Scorpio in your ninth house asks you to be, you'll be forging again, like, you'll be like almost, it's like a jihad energy. I don't know how else to explain it. Fighting for some spiritual cause, fighting for what you believe is right. Some of you will be called over the next 2 years, and it's not just in November. The conjunction happens in November, but you'd see that you're doing this over the next 2 years, that a lot of your energy is mobilized in that. And that's like fighting for truth, fighting for something you believe in to become obvious. I just had Mars and Sun conjunction over the last 2 years in my ninth house. So I'm speaking from experience. So I started like bringing those topics that are painful, and for you in particular with Scorpio there, you might be asked to be a speaker of truth of some sort, a revealer of truth, to become way more moral. You might commit because Mars and Sun in Scorpio give you the strongest willpower to commit to some path of morality or of following. For example, you might say that you'll never lie. And over those 2 years, you really achieve this and you turn your life around, your luck around, your dharma around. The ninth house is your dharma, which is your good karma, which you create through your new actions, by changing your beliefs, by changing your morals, by building more virtues. You can commit. This is the highest manifestation of the Sun conjunct Mars in the ninth house. Commit wholeheartedly to building virtues, to self-improvement. The ninth house is the house of self-improvement. You're watching this video because you're into self-improvement and higher knowledge. Your people go to, we do self-growth. This is the ninth house. To grow and beyond your limitations. So it's fantastic to have Sun and Mars conjunct, the two planets of willpower, of inspiration, to get joined in your ninth house. You'll be committing to a better version of yourself, to a higher, more expanded version of yourself, to changing your future, to changing your plans for the future. So there can be new beginnings for sure over the next 2 years. One of them can be in moving abroad, for example, because ninth house rules foreign places, or traveling. There can be some activity that you're focused on traveling in some sort, for example, foreign countries, or you might commit and put a lot of willpower and focus on some new studies or new kind of putting your energy towards higher education or pre-qualification with courage that you didn't have before. And you'll be triumphant, and you can get a degree, or you can forge really deep knowledge that you didn't have before, that it can turn your luck around. This is one of the houses this is the house of luck, ninth house. And actually, luck comes when you do the other ninth house things, when you gain more knowledge, when you self-growth, when you do everything to better yourself. So this is where a lot of your energies will be going. Already Saturn is trying to make you in the first house, a new role, a new you, new direction. And the Sun and Mars will be helping you. Your higher self, or call it God, is the ninth house. And you might attract some teachers that are tough teachers that demand more from you, but that help you to focus as well. But now if you can start over the next 2 years any new direction of study, or if you can start teaching something, if you're ready, you might be ready to teach. You might be ready to succeed in such career of some sort. Definitely this can do an opening for you. Or you might be fighting some legal battle. I had Sun and Mars in my ninth house because I'm before you, so the previous one was in the previous sign. And I can tell you that I just did a lot of educational project with Sun and Mars in the ninth house, and I fought for truth. And I tried the truth to reach more people. But you know, it's for you. For in some extreme cases, ninth house can be some legal battle, or it can be some moral battle when you're battling with the lower qualities and triumphing over lower qualities. But be careful, because there will be definitely clashes. Oh, definitely power struggles with the Scorpio, though Sun Mars over the next couple of years. Power struggles about your belief systems and those of others. But something will definitely, Mars is the transform, like something new comes into your belief systems, into your lifestyle and self-expression. It's another area of self-expression. But definitely what I'm seeing is, I see the fire coming into you. Fire, which is very welcome, because Saturn is otherwise in your first house, which kind of makes you a bit more, takes away the fire, makes you a bit more subdued. Yes, working hard, but this passion is gone. But Mars and the Sun will enter through another portal of the self, more fire into you, and into for the future, where you're headed. You can get more excited about where the future is headed and what it holds for you, and go in that direction to study something, explore foreign countries and so on, or new belief systems and so on. And knowledge, and you can be a source of knowledge, but again, it can be a source of power struggles as well. Truth, moral dilemmas and so on. All right, so Pisces, this is what I see for you. Venus will be in your 8th house. It can be good maybe to, if you have taxes to send, to do that in November, because it's a good sign. 8th house rules taxes, or to receive some tax return, or to receive more money from clients. It can be beneficial, or to receive presents from others, or even to dedicate yourself to more intimate experiences. 8th house is hidden romantic relationships, intimate experiences. Intimacy improves, conception more likely if you're interested in that. Or Venus in the 8th house, but it's only for November, for the last 20 days. It can be also good to study astrology and such kind of more hidden information, to receive some secrets, or to open yourself intimately to another friend or whatever, to share with you, to receive some hidden but useful information as well. So, yeah, and Mercury is in your 10th house after the 10th, 9th of November again. So it's good for your career. You're acting there. Things are moving fast. So nothing to worry about. It's just the most important thing is the Sun-Mars conjunction and Saturn turning direct. Hope that was helpful for you, Pisces. If you want to hear your 2024 video horoscope, which is 3 hours almost, it's gonna be out on November 17th, but if you order it before that, you receive 30%, and we'll send it to you when it is ready. And also my calendar for 2024, which covers all transits and planets moving signs, what they mean, say Jupiter going to Gemini, what it can mean for the world, and what are the good activities for that year, or investments to do, or Saturn making hard aspect with Jupiter on that date. What does it mean for the world and for you? And so everything we cover, new moons, full moons, everything. I write them every year. You can check them out, because we saw about 20,000 since I started making them. People really love those horoscopes and this transit calendar. So it's 2024 calendar basically. Thank you so much, Pisces. And yeah, let your inner warrior shine, because you'll be an example. 9th house, where it's happening, you might be like an example, warrior figure, or a role model. That you might be asked to enter into some role model role over the next couple of years. Thank you.